Hello friends, are you all able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Uh, so today's agenda is very clear as you all know. Lovely. Yeah. So as you all know, today's agenda is very clear, my dear friends. Starting off with the remaining chapters, right? It'll be lovely if you all can switch on your videos. And yeah, let's participate. Let's kill it. Acha, first things first, I want to ask you all first question, and that is, did you all do the sums as we decided? Come on, tell me, Avni, Smith, Deepak Ladha. बताइए दीपक जी. Where are you guys? Smith, Avni, Deepak. Switch on our videos. Come on.
आवाज आ रहा है? हेलो हेलो
Yes, Parth, did you do the sums? Are you feeling confident? Please give me a thumbs up in the chat box. Are you all there? Avni, Deepak, Smith, are you all
Yes,
there?
sir. I'm there.
Why can't I see you today? What's up?
Sir, just a minute, huh?
Ah. Smith, what's up? Deepak, where are you? And Avni, also just text Heath.
Yes, sir, already did.
हाँ. स्मिथ, क्या हुआ? तेरा सीन क्या है? जरा आवाज आ रहा है?
आ रहा है सर? हेलो हेलो
हाँ, नाउ इट्स फाइन.
आ रहा है?
मैं स्पॉटलाइट कर देता हूँ जरा. Okay, fair enough. Okay, so the only reason I wanted to ask is very simple, is because I wanted to know how does it feel now, like in terms of customs. Just a second, I'll just text the students. Okay. Yeah. So guys, it's very important today. MS, did you do all these sums yesterday? What's up? What's up, MS? Tell me. Okay, fair enough. Uh, Guys, today we are going to start with warehousing, as you all rightly know. Correct? Warehousing is a newly added chapter, and I don't know, there is some sense of fear that sir ये बहुत बड़ा chapter है, or what it's a very long chapter or something like that. But all I'd like to say is that it's lengthy, but it's not difficult, it's easy. So let's do it anyway. Okay. So the first things first, warehousing. Firstly, as you all know, my dear friends, that why is warehousing required? Very simple reason for that is that as soon as you import things, import goods, not necessary that your factory will have that storage space. And a lot of times it happens is that you want to order, let's say, 1 lakh units, but you are forced to order, you are compelled to order 1,50,000 units. Why is that? Very simple reason. It's because of the fact that the supplier out there, the exporter out there in US, he says that's the minimum quantity that I sell. So for you to get 1 lakh orders, you will have to actually punch in an order of 1,50,000, only then the opposite person will sell it. Now your storage space is 1 lakh units only. Where will you store that 50,000 units? In your house? No. Right? So government has only created this concept of warehouse. But what you can do is very simple. You can easily store goods. So in warehouse chapter, what are the things that we are going to learn? What is the rate of duty? On which date are we going to check the rate of duty, the rate of exchange? Till how long are we able to keep the goods in warehouse? What kind of different warehouses exist? Like there is a public warehouse, there is a private warehouse, there is a special warehouse, right? And if we don't remove these goods within a stipulated period of time, okay, what can customs department do? What can the warehouse keeper do? What kind of rent, what kind of interest, provisions can be applicable to us? So all of these things are going to be seen in this chapter. Very sorted. Okay, mainly there are 2-3 computations that can be asked in this from this question. We will do that properly, don't worry, not a big deal. And that's it, I feel. So we've covered all the aspects of warehousing in this chart. वैसे देखने जाएंगे तो in the module it's more than like 25 pages, but we've cut shorted in such a way that all the concepts get covered and it is pretty sorted. So let's do it anyway. Okay, फटाफट से. The first thing is yes.
Just one question. Sir, warehousing is not in the original book of customs?
No, it is not, because when we had made the book, the issue was that ICAI had not announced warehousing at that juncture. So this chapter is recently added. It was always a part of Customs Act, but बीच में उन्होंने निकाल दिया था, right? तो जब उन्होंने ऐड किया था तब उसके पहले क्या बुक पब्लिश हो जाता है, because we generally teach indirect tax a year before your attempt, so that's how it is. It's recently added. It's the first attempt is May 23 and the second one is November 23.
So this can't be, we can't keep it an option, right? It can be asked.
You can't be omitting this.
Yeah.
I think so. You should do it, and it's pretty easy. Let's just see through it. मैं क्या ही पूछ लेंगे इसमें? Like I don't think so. There's much in this, right? There are a couple of questions. We will do that and wrap it up. Not a big deal. ठीक, sure. Let's do it. But did you solve, guys? Did you solve the valuation sums yesterday? अवनी क्या हुआ? अभी क्या बहाना है? क्या कर रही थी कल और आज? गणपति भग, तू तो जैन है ना?
नहीं सर, मैं भानुशाली हूँ.
ओके, तो क्या गई थी विसर्जन करने या देखने?
नहीं, करने हमारी सोसाइटी में बहुत धूमधाम से होता है.
Okay, so finally you were also a part of that noise. Okay, what about you, Smith? तेरा क्या बहाना है?
सर थोड़े बहुत किए, सारे नहीं किए.
Okay, and ही तेरा क्या सीन है?
सर पहले कर लिए थे मैंने सारे क्वेश्चंस.
पहले ही कर लिए थे? कब?
जब मैं आईडीटी रिवाइज कर रहा था
तो तू बैठा क्यों था कल? एक और बार रिवाइज करना है?
हाँ.
अच्छा ये. Okay, I hope that was helpful and it was of some value addition to you. And पूर्वी आपका क्या सीन है?
यस सर, पूरे सॉल्व कर लिए, बस एक रिफंड चैप्टर बचा है.
Oh, lovely. And how was it? Was it helpful?
यस सर,
आंसर्स निकल रहे हैं अभी?
सबके सब क्वेश्चंस हो गए, सॉल्व करना आ गया.
आंसर निकल रहे हैं ना सबके?
यस सबके अच्छे, मतलब प्रॉपर आंसर्स आ रहे हैं.
और ट्राई करना लास्ट अभी 3-4 अटेम्प्ट के भी क्या है एक बार कर लेना along with RTPs, so that it's reinstated more, and it's just done once and for all.
Yes, sir.
That's it. Okay, done. That's it. Great. So warehousing, my dear friends, the first thing that we're doing is that importer is required to do the following thing for availing this facility, and that is he has to bind himself with surety and security to pay to the government. And वो वैल्यू कितना होगा, टोटल ड्यूटी जितना होगा आपका मल्टीप्लाई बाय 3x. The reason why he's supposed to do this is very simple, because understand, from port to custom warehouse he's not supposed to pay anything. That payment of duty is deferred, because he will be paying after he clears it from the warehouse, as you rightly know. So tomorrow if he just puts his hands up and say that, oh, I cannot pay, it cannot happen that way. It doesn't function that way. You have to give a surety, that is a promise, and a security that is to back that surety. The bond या surety, that means that is a promise that I will pay this duty, okay, tomorrow when I clear the goods. Security is a bank guarantee, right? Security is a bank guarantee कि जो भी क्या ड्यूटी है उसका certain percentage होता है, that you have to give as a bank guarantee, that if I don't pay, my bank will pay, don't worry, right? So the security amount, surety amount is what? 3x total duty, plus he has agreed to pay, okay, on the goods that will be cleared from such warehouse, and the value is assessed and the rate of duty is assessed. Okay, तो rate of duty, आप rate of exchange आपको पता है कौन सा लेना है, date of into bond bill of entry, and दूसरा rate of duty कौन से दिन का लेना है, you will take it of ex bond bill of entry. ठीक है. Now understand one thing, that whenever you enter the port, whenever you enter from the port to custom warehouse, you will file into bond bill of entry, that is along with executing the bond. And finally, once you get the order to deposit goods in warehouse without payment of duty, you can finally take the goods from port to customs warehouse. So basically you will have to do three things. First, file bill of entry, okay, bill of entry to deposit goods in warehouse, which is called into bond bill of entry. Along with that, execute a bond, sign a promise, okay, and then finally you will get an order permitting clearance of goods, order permitting deposit of goods in warehouse. Once you get that order, you can show that order to the custody of the custodian, and he will let you allow the goods remove from the custody of custodian and take it to a warehouse, right? And finally, from the warehouse, if you want to take the goods, clear the goods, file ex bond bill of entry and also pay the duty, because तभी duty उसके साथ ही पे करना होता है. Along with bill of entry only you have to pay the duty. Simple. ठीक. Now there are three types of warehouses that you will come across. Okay, there are three types of warehouses. First is public warehouse, private warehouse, and third is special warehouse. Okay, and the common thing is that it is either a site or a building licensed by principal customs commissioner, okay, principal commissioner of customs या फिर commissioner of customs. ठीक है, very simple. Now what is the peculiarity of it? So in a public warehouse, understand, any dutiable goods can be stored, deposited. But in a private warehouse only, okay, the importer who has the license of having that warehouse can deposit it. So मेरा private warehouse, it's my private warehouse. I can only deposit my goods. I cannot deposit like Avni's goods or Smith's goods. Okay. For that, they will have to have their own warehouses, or they can deposit in the public warehouse. Very simple. And third is a special warehouse. So your notified goods like gold hai, silver hai, right, they will be deposited. Got it? Wherein dutiable goods notified by CBIC may be deposited, right? And one of the notified are gold and silver. Okay. With respect to public and private warehouse, understand, you just have to keep a record, okay, as to which goods are coming and which goods are going, right? And the goods which are going, is the duty paid on that, on what rate, what date, what amount, what value, all of those details. But in special warehouse, understand, okay, special warehouse means since there are these precious things kept like gold, silver, semi-precious stones, the custom officer will legit, okay, keep a lock. Keep a lock. He will lock it. So if you want to enter any goods, if you want to deposit any goods, he will open the lock. You store it, he will close the lock. Open the lock, close the lock, open the lock, close the lock, vice versa. So it's that kind of a system, right? Okay. Now, important is that, okay, as soon as the importer furnishes bond and security, right, the proper officer shall make order permitting deposit of goods in warehouse. Okay. Now, understand for how much period will you keep the goods? Till what extent? And this is a very important aspect, so consider this important. Question can be asked on this. Okay, for how many days, right, can you store goods in a warehouse? Acha, can anyone tell me for how many days can you keep the goods on the port, customs port? Any idea? This is the maximum number of days you can store the goods on the customs port. Any idea? Any like guess? Urvi? $30 days. Okay.
30 days.
30 days. 30 days is the time that you can keep the goods on the port. Okay, on the port. 30 days. So within 30 days, either clear it for home consumption, clear it for warehouse, right? Yeah, clear it for transshipment. I don't give a damn. But get those goods off the port within 30 days. If you don't do it, those goods will be then be auctioned by the government, and government will take the proceeds. As simple as that. Okay. So on port you can keep 30 days, but in warehouse, government says that if goods are for use in any 100% EOU, EHTP, STP, EHTP Electronic Hardware Technology Park, Software Technology Park, okay, where manufacturer or other operations are permitted under section 65. So with respect to capital goods, government has said till the clearance of such goods from warehouse, and with respect to other goods, it has said till the consumption or clearance of such goods from warehouse. So basically, if, okay, the goods are stored in a warehouse which is in 100% EOU, EHTP, STP, such kind of an area, basically it's unlimited period. You can store there, you can deposit it, the goods can be there till the clearance of such goods, okay, from the warehouse. But in case of normal cases, I will say second one is the normal case, right, where such warehouse is not located in any of the places above. 1 year, that's it. The maximum you can keep it is for 1 year, my dear friends. Okay. Yes, Abhishek, this is for CA final. This is for CA final beta. Okay. Yeah. So please make sure, my dear friends, that this is very clear. For 1 year maximum. So for port, you can keep it for 30 days. For warehouse, you can keep it for 1 year. Okay, there is a timeline I'm going to draw that will take care of a few things, and that'll be really easy for you to recollect. I'll also ask you to draw it with me. So keep your notebooks hands on. It'll be easier for you to understand things, right? That's it. Okay. Next is that, okay, interest on warehouse goods. Okay, now what does that mean? Interest on warehouse goods, right? Government says, okay, that with respect to class of goods, so capital goods and other goods for use in 100% EOU, EHTP, STP warehouse, where manufacturer or other operations are permitted under 65, no interest is payable. No interest. Simple. Because we want to encourage these sectors. Because generally, I'll tell you, warehouses are under these parks. Why? अरे दीपांकर अभी समझ में आ जाएगा यार, इतना तू पढ़ा लिखा है यार, जम्मू कश्मीर का है तू भाई. यहाँ पे साउथ इंडियन भी बैठा है एक अमल भाई, वो बोल रहा है इंग्लिश बोलो, तू बोल रहा हिंदी बोलो. अभी मैं थोड़ा बहुत करते रहूंगा यार, कम ऑन. अमल, वेयर आर यू फ्रॉम? Kerala he is from. Kerala people speak which language? Malayalam? Telugu? Malayalam, right? Yes. Malayalam. What is, अच्छा, tell me one thing, Amal, बात कर ही रहे तो tell me what is the GST limit, threshold limit for Kerala?
For which services?
Huh? For services.
20 lakhs,
Goods.
40 lakhs.
And what if I talk about a compo taxpayer if I want to be a composition scheme?
1.5 crores.
1
5 crores.
Good. Should be proud to be a Keralite. One of the highest literacy rates in the entire India. 95%. And you are clearly contributing in the same.
But the population is comparatively more. So
Population is comparatively
more. So percentage will increase.
okay. Still, I am very proud, and so should you be. Okay, next time before you on your camera, make sure you wear a t-shirt.
You have seen that.
Clearly. Okay. Nice. You don't understand even an ounce of Hindi?
No, but yesterday you take this baggage and refund completely in Hindi. That's why I told.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yes.
Baggage and what? Duty drawback?
Baggage and refund.
Refund. Those are easy chapters anyway. And you keep nudging me. Amal,
Okay.
keep nudging me, okay, sir. Please. So, I'll remember myself, because it's not that I don't like to speak in Hindi. I love it, in fact. Sorry, I don't like to speak in English. It's just that it does not come naturally. So I have to remind myself that, okay, Karan, you have learnt your entire, 1 to 10 standard in English medium. Though my teachers were atrocious, never spoke a word of English. They taught
The
English in
problem
Hindi.
is most of the lectures are in Hindi only in YouTube.
Is it?
Yes.
I think it's time we should speak in English. Yeah, we should.
Because you
Dipangur.
have to write exams in English. Then why the?
That's so correct. Dipangur, did you get a lesson from our brother from Kerala? Dipangur, by the way, is from Jammu Kashmir. Yes. Though he's in Mumbai right now, but he is from Jammu Kashmir. Okay. So I'm so proud today that today we are actually entire India is studying today under one roof. Okay. Lovely, guys. Take care. Okay. So the thing is, my dear friends, very simple. The first thing is very clear. Second thing is, my dear friends, goods other than one above. So basically all the other goods that are the normal cases, my dear friends. Please understand, all the normal cases, very, very, very simple. The interest free period for which you can keep your goods in the warehouse is only 90 days. So interest will be payable if goods remain in the warehouse beyond 90 days from the order permitting deposit in warehouse. Got it? So for example, my dear friends, to give you some perspective, let's say 1/4 is the order permitting deposit in warehouse. तो यहां से लेके यू टेक 90 days. ठीक है, लेट्स काउंट इट. ओके, आई थिंक यू डोंट इवन नो हाउ टू काउंट डेज, राइट? अप्रैल है तो 30 days, 1 day gone, 29 days. May, entire 31. June 30. So that is 30, 50, 60, 90. Fair enough. 30th June. Got it? So this is the cutoff period. Got it? You can keep your goods interest free till 30th 6 from 1/7 to whatever date you keep, but make sure that is within 1 year. Okay, make sure it is within 1 year, right? Then let's say for example it is 1/8. Okay, so whatever the number of days, those are all delayed days. What are they? Delayed days. To that 15% per annum के हिसाब से you will be subject to interest. Got it? Yes, sir. Okay. Next up is, my dear friends, very simple. Just still, I for the better understanding, let me just say rate of interest is 15%. Amount on which interest is payable is duty payable at the time of clearance of goods, right? And the third is, my dear friends, period for which interest is payable. The expiry of 90 days till the date of payment. So all the parameters are clearly covered. Okay? Now, friends, one thing that you need to really understand is that goods which are not removed from the warehouse is deemed to be improperly removed, right? Goods which are not removed on time, they are deemed to be improperly removed, and the rate of duty that is applicable in that case is on the date of deemed removal. Okay, so let me give you a classic example for this. So what happens is, okay, understand that a lot of times when the order for deposit in warehouse is given, in that order itself the proper officer mentions that you will remove the goods within 4 months or within 5 months, right? And if you remove it after that time, then it will be improper removal. So what happens is, on 1/4 you got the order to deposit in warehouse. Now the order says that you can keep that goods for the next 6 months. That is 110. Now if you remove the goods on 111, this happens to be a improper removal. Now the consequence of this is that though you are clearing the goods on 111, but the rate of duty that you will be subject to is as of 110. You will take this date because this is the date of deemed removal. So bhale you actually remove it when on 111, but understand it will be considered as if you have deemed removed on 110, and which is why in that case the rate of duty that will be applicable will be of that date. So keep that as a note and please make it important. Rate of duty is applicable on the date of deemed removal. Okay, next is that understand there is a concept of the fact that interest is payable. Understand, interest is payable only when duty payment is delayed. Okay, only when duty payment is delayed. But if there is no duty, there is, simply put, no interest. No duty, no interest. No duty, no interest. Array, no duty, no interest. Is that very clear, friends? Yes, बस इतनी बात करनी है कि अगर ड्यूटी ही नहीं है तो भैया इंटरेस्ट कहां से आया. तो अगर आपके गुड्स, फॉर एग्जांपल जैसे मैंने दिया है यहाँ पे, राइट, एक्स एन इंपोर्टर अदर देन 100% यू एसटीपी, नॉर्मल केस है, imported some goods and deposited them in warehouse on 12th April. These goods were re-exported without payment on 15th August. ठीक है. With reference to the Customs Act, discuss whether any interest as per 61 is payable. Answer is, since the good have been re-exported without payment of duty, there is no interest payable by X. Simple. तो अगर आप देखने जाएंगे तो अप्रैल से अगस्त, ओके, मई, जून, जुलाई, अगस्त, क्लियरली इट इज मोर देन 90 डेज. तो इंटरेस्ट तो बनता है. तो व्हाई इज इंटरेस्ट स्टिल नॉट लेवीड? बिकॉज देर इज नो ड्यूटी इन दिस केस. Had it been that this person must have cleared the goods not for export but for domestic consumption, यानी इंडिया में ही क्लियर किया होता उसने, then definitely the interest would have got triggered after 90 days. That is, the meter would have started from 91st day. समझा? बट इसमें उसको ड्यूटी पे ही नहीं करना था बिकॉज ही हैज एक्सपोर्टेड इट. सो इन दैट केस देयर विल बी नो इंटरेस्ट. एज सिंपल इज दैट. Keep this in mind. It can be asked in a case study, or for that matter a question can also be put up, right? I'm actually doing an analysis because मैंने छोटा सा एनालिसिस किया था May 23 में, and that really came very close, and I'm actually doing an analysis and I will be putting that in a couple of days time कि कौन सा चैप्टर आप आइडियली क्या है थोड़ा छोड़ सकते हो या गिव अप कर सकते हो, राइट, और किस पे ज़्यादा फोकस कर सकते हो. बिकॉज आई थिंक समवेयर आई हैव गॉट द नर्व्स ऑफ ICI दैट वेयर आर दे एक्चुअली लुकिंग. आई थिंक बिकॉज लास्ट 2 अटेम्प्ट से मैं करते आ रहा हूँ. मैंने पब्लिश नहीं किया था ये चीज़ बिकॉज आई वॉज बिजी इन एडनोवेट, बट आई थिंक दिस टाइम लेट्स होप दैट इट वर्क्स आउट. देख लेना आप अपने एंड पे, टेक योर रिस्क एंड सी हाउ इट वर्क्स आउट. इस बार तो यूट्यूब पे लाइव करना है वो चीज़, लेट्स सी हाउ इट वर्क्स आउट. Okay. Next, owner's right to deal with warehouse goods. Very simple. What can an owner do? He can inspect the goods. He can ensure that the goods do not deteriorate or get damaged. He can sort the goods and he can show the goods for sale if any buyer turns up. ठीक है. Next, can you do manufacturing in a warehouse? Yes, but only and only private, okay, and special warehouse. समझा? Very simple. So public bonded warehouse में you cannot manufacture. Only private and special bonded warehouse में you can manufacture. Very simple, because understand, private warehouse तो मेरा ही warehouse है यार, it is my warehouse. तो उसमें गवर्नमेंट क्यों ना बोलेगा जो करना है कर. पब्लिक warehouse is actually for everyone, right? So there is no place only so much that a manufacturing setup can be placed. और कितनों का करेंगे? Because in a public warehouse, Adani, Ambani, Birla, Tata, everyone is importing goods and storing it there. Everyone starts saying that I also want to put up my manufacturing goods. तो जगह कहाँ से लाएंगे भाई इतना? Where will we get the space from? So public बोल दिया नहीं बॉस, not happening. हाँ, public and private and special में we can definitely do, but you will have to definitely take permission from Principal Commissioner of Customs या फिर Commissioner of Customs. ठीक है. तो दिस इज समथिंग इंपॉर्टेंट, यू शुड रिमेंबर दिस. लॉजिक मैंने दे दिया तो आई थिंक इट शुड बी क्लियर. आफ्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग गुड्स, यस
सर परमिशन कब लेना पड़ेगा? बोथ केसेस, प्राइवेट और स्पेशल बॉन्डेड, दोनों को
Correct.
परमिशन लेना पड़ेगा.
यस, परमिशन तो जिसको अलाउ है वही परमिशन लेगा ना. हाँ बोल स्मिथ.
सर आवाज आ रहा है? हेलो हेलो
नहीं सुनाई दे
नहीं आ रहा है आवाज?
नहीं पता नहीं, अभी नहीं सुनाई दे रहा है। बंद करके चालू कर दे वो दीपक का पैतरा अपना। ठीक। आफ्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग गुड्स इफ यू आर एक्सपोर्टिंग, इफ द ड्यूटीज आर देयर, ओके, कोई एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी वगैरह लगता है तो पे करके दे दीजिए, अदरवाइज तो देयर इज हार्डली एनीथिंग दैट यू हैव टू डू विद एक्सपोर्ट्स. Cleared for home consumption, then definitely okay, there will be GST. Okay, supply under GST, very simple. So if you are clearing goods for home consumption, right, then in that, and also selling it to someone, okay, then that case लग जाएगा. तो ये बेसिकली मैं बात कर रहा हूँ आउटसाइड वेयर हाउस जैसे होगा. आउटसाइड वेयर हाउस इफ द टाइटल इज ट्रांसफर तो GST लगेगा, अदरवाइज इट इज फाइन एब्सोल्युटली. ओके. Treatment of waste generated during process. Now understand one thing, my dear friends, that if any waste is generated from that manufacturer, right, what are you doing with that waste? What are you doing? Point number one, whole or part resulting from manufacture and operations have been exported. Whole or part resulting from manufacture or operations have been exported. To understand if they are okay, if such waste is destroyed, then in that case consequence is what? Import duty to be remitted on such waste quantity, right? तो बेसिकली ये है एक्सपोर्ट के लिए और ये है होम कंजम्पशन के लिए. तो एक्सपोर्ट में आइदर यू डिस्ट्रॉय आइदर यू डोंट डिस्ट्रॉय, राइट? तो इफ यू आर डिस्ट्रॉइंग इट, सिंपल, इन दैट केस ओके, द इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी विल बी remitted. You're not supposed to pay anything. If such waste is not destroyed, then in that case import duty is to be paid. Okay, because understand that the case here is whole or part resulting from manufacture and operations have been exported. So here the thing is that the goods that are manufactured are exported. Waste is not exported. The goods that are manufactured are exported. The waste remains, right? And if it is not destroyed and you are willing to clear it for home consumption, then in that case import duty has to be paid, right? But in case of what, whole or part of goods cleared for home consumption, ID charged on quantity of such goods contained in waste. ठीक है, import duty will be charged on the quantity of goods contained in waste. तो होम कंजम्पशन के लिए गुड्स क्या कर रहे हो तो फिर सिंपल सी बात है, उस पर आपको क्या है, उस गुड से जो भी क्या है वेस्ट निकला उस पर तो ड्यूटी पे करना ही है. पर इन केस ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट्स अगर आपने डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया है तो नहीं करना है, एंड अगर आपने डिस्ट्रॉय नहीं किया है तो आपको पे करना पड़ेगा. अच्छा, when it comes to 67, 68, 69, these are all procedural aspects frankly speaking, so just rush it through because there's hardly that can be asked. Transfer from one warehouse to another warehouse, you take permission of PO, proper dispatch of goods under one time lock, and proper receipt of goods at destination warehouse so that there is no risk to revenue. Clearance for home consumption, present ex-bond bill of entry, pay duty plus interest and penalty if any. Relinquishment of title of goods, owner may relinquish title anytime before order for clearance for home consumption, and thereby since he is relinquished the right. What do you mean by relinquishment? कि ये गुड्स मेरा नहीं है अभी भाई, मैं नहीं जानता ये किसका है, मेरा नहीं, मैं टाइटल relinquish करता हूँ. उस पर फिर कब्जा कर लेता है गवर्नमेंट और गवर्नमेंट उसे ऑक्शन करके पैसा कमा लेता है. ठीक है, तो अगर आप relinquish करते हो, बट मेक श्योर दैट द relinquishment is before order for clearance for home consumption, right? Then you are not supposed to pay any duty because you are claiming that these are not your goods. If these are not your goods, why will you pay import duty on goods which do not belong to you? Simple, right? Third is no relinquishment where offenses appears. So obviously, if for example I manage to import some AK-47 and what happens is that it's an offense and I cannot now relinquish my right. मेरे नहीं है कुछ, you cannot say that. बिल ऑफ एंट्री तूने फाइल किया है, ओके, एक्सपोर्टर ने वहां पे नाम तेरा लिखा था, तो यू कैन नॉट डिनाई इट. यू विल हैव टू ओन इट एंड यू विल हैव टू पे ड्यूटी फॉर इट एंड यू विल आल्सो गो टू जेल फॉर इट. ओके, ड्यूटी पे करने के बाद हाँ अभी जेल जाता. ओके, यस. क्लियरेंस ऑफ वेयर हाउस गुड्स फॉर एक्सपोर्ट, राइट? no import duty. Why? Because you are importing goods. Custom port पे है. Custom port से now it is gone to custom warehouse. And from custom warehouse you are bringing it all to exports. So from port to warehouse, did you pay any duty? No. Custom officer said it is deferred when you clearance for home consumption. But I am not clearing it for home consumption. Right? I am clearing it for exports. So no duty. Right? And rightly so, because that also confirms the fact that customs duty is actually a destination based tax. Because understand, if I am not clearing it for home consumption but clearing it for what? Exports. Are the goods going to be consumed in India? No. They are going to be consumed when? In foreign country. तो फिर foreign country का जो importer होगा वो duty pay करेगा ना भाई. That person will pay the duty. Who's importing from US. I will not do anything. Just make sure that if you don't want to pay any duty, you also attach your shipping bill of export duty that you have to pay any, along with fines and penalties. And if the PO satisfy himself that okay, you have done all the regulations with respect to export, he will make sure that you don't have to pay any duties. Acha, but please make sure that government should never feel the fact that the goods that you are exporting, you will smuggle it back to India in any way. If that happens, then definitely in that case, okay, you will have to make payment of duty. ठीक है, तो उनको अगर ऐसा लग रहा है then such goods shall not be exported without payment of duty. एक्सपोर्ट ही नहीं करने देंगे तेरे को. If they think that अच्छा these, especially if you are they have some suspicion कि यार ये क्या चल रहा है भाई, ये बंदा क्या है, नेपाल भेज रहा है, नेपाल से वापस रूट कर क्या आ रहा है, बिकॉज ऐसे ही गुड्स हमको नेपाल बॉर्डर पे दिख रहा है, तो दे विल नॉट लेट यू सेंड गुड्स ओनली विदाउट पेमेंट ऑफ ड्यूटी. बोला पे कर भाई, क्योंकि तेरा घूम फिर के यहाँ पे ही आने वाला है, तू कोई जेन्युइन एक्सपोर्ट नहीं कर रहा. ओके. अच्छा, अलाउंस इन केस ऑफ वॉलेटाइल गुड्स, नीदर द इंपोर्टर नॉर द वेयर हाउस कीपर कैन बी आस्क्ड टू बेयर द burden of the normal loss. Right? So what happens is there are these goods, chemical है या फिर क्या है, कोई perishable goods है, right? So you cannot ask the importer nor the warehouse keeper to bear the duty burden of the normal loss. So basically understand that if there is 100 liters of what? Chemical, right? That was existing when you had deposited those goods in the warehouse. Now it is a normal loss that 10% of it gets evaporated. So 90 liters you have now. So neither the warehouse keeper nor the importer will be subject to pay duty for that 10 liters which have got evaporated. He will be asked only to pay duty on the 90 liters that exist. Okay. So ACDC of customs may remit duty on such deficiency. Is that very clear? Yes. अच्छा, improper removal किसको बोलते हैं? 3 instances. Okay. First is very simple. First understand what is section 71. Section 71 says that you can either remove the goods by the way of clearance for home consumption, या फिर क्या है, export, transfer to another warehouse, otherwise provided by customs. Now 72 enumerates cases where you have improperly removed the goods. Okay. First is warehouse goods removed in contravention to 71. So apart from this, if you are removing in any other way, not removal at expiration of permitted period under section 61. तो जो भी आपके ऑर्डर में क्या है लिखा है कि in 3 months, 4 months, 5 months you have to remove the goods. If you remove after that period, even goods in respect of which bond executed and not cleared for home consumption exported are not duty accounted to the satisfaction of proper officer. They are not cleared as per the satisfaction of proper officer. Then in that case definitely there is improper removal. It can be a question which can be asked as it is. Give us 3 instances of improper removal of goods. Simple. Right? you can write these three. Acha, when goods cleared, exported, transferred or otherwise duty accounted for and due amounts paid, PO shall cancel the bond as discharged in full. Okay, so once you have cleared the goods from warehouse, your bond will be discharged. And now you are no more liable to make that promise. Because the goods are cleared, you have paid the duty, now the bond will be cancelled. Simple. Because now there is no need to promise because you have done what you were supposed to do. Very simple. Acha. Custody and the removal of warehouse goods. Acha. The warehouse keeper is the custodian of warehouse. For how many period will you have to keep the records and accounts? तो बोला minimum 5 years from the date of removal of goods from warehouse. Mark that important. कि कितने टाइम के लिए रखना पड़ेगा warehouse keeper को ये सब records? 5 years from the date of removal. Not from the date of deposit, from the date of removal. He will have to keep it for 5 years. These are this. So this was the importer. These were the goods. Rate of duty ये था. Value ये था. So in case let's say customs department want to revisit it again, they can always have the opportunity to do the same. Okay. Clearly warehouse keeper is the custodian of warehouse goods. And yes, repeat हो गया है वो चीज तो ignore करना उसको. And there were a couple of things that were left here. Just check. Okay, so understand one thing that the license that a person requires, right, for a private warehouse or a special warehouse, you are not required to regularly update it, renew it. It is not transferable and is valid till surrender or cancellation by the request of the licensee, right? In a public warehouse, goods can be kept by any importer. In private, जिसका है license, उसी को deposit करना है. And special, locked by proper officer and no person will enter or remove the goods without the permission of proper officer. Only notified goods are deposited here. So we've already done this, nothing special. Okay. Yeah. Just the part with cancellation of licensee. Check that. Okay, can you cancel the license? So after giving opportunity of being heard, principal commissioner या commissioner may cancel the warehouse license if license contravenes any of the provisions. Okay. During the pendency of inquiry, operations of warehouse may be suspended. ठीक है. No good shall be deposited in warehouse during suspension period. Okay. तो suspension period में deposit कुछ नहीं होगा warehouse में. Already deposited goods shall continue to be governed by warehouse provision. ठीक है. Where license is cancelled, warehouse goods shall be removed to another warehouse goods or cleared for home consumption. So for example, goods A का license has got, warehouse A का license has got cancelled. So whatever goods are there, immediately they will have to be removed and shifted to another warehouse or clear for home consumption or export. Within how many days? 7 days from the service of cancellation order. Please mark this important. This can be asked. तो ठीक है, opportunity of being heard, understood. But main 2 things you will take with respect to cancellation. सबसे पहला, as soon as the cancellation of a particular warehouse, cancellation of license of a particular warehouse is announced, सबसे पहले क्या सोचेंगे कि 7 दिन के अंदर निकाल साले को, निकाल वो गुड्स को, निकाल एक्सपोर्ट करवा, क्लियरेंस फॉर होम कंजम्पशन या दूसरे वेयरहाउस में डाल, यहाँ पे होना नहीं चाहिए. और दूसरा, ओके, अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑफ बीइंग हर्ड दिया तो तब तक सस्पेंडेड है वो, कैंसिल हुआ नहीं, पहले शोकॉज आएगा तो तब तक सस्पेंडेड है वो, रिप्लाई करेगा, सामने वाले का रिप्लाई आएगा और फाइनली कैंसिल होगा, उसके पहले सस्पेंडेड है. तो सस्पेंशन पीरियड में भी आई डोंट वांट एनी गुड्स टू बी केप्ट हियर, क्योंकि जो है भी उसको भी निकाल दिया मैंने. ठीक है, ये केस है. एंड लास्ट इज वेयरहाउसिंग बॉन्ड. एन इंपोर्टर एग्जीक्यूटिंग बॉन्ड बाइंड्स हिमसेल्फ, ओके, if he contravenes any of the provisions. Second, to comply with the provision of the custom law, to pay on or before the date specified in the demand notice, to pay all the penalties and fines incurred for the contravention of law. कंसाइनमेंट बॉन्ड क्या है? बॉन्ड इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ पर्टिकुलर कंसाइनमेंट अमाउंट 3x ऑफ द ड्यूटी, एंड जनरल बॉन्ड इज रनिंग अकाउंट इज मेंटेन्ड. Okay, debit when the imported goods are warehoused and credit when there is X bond bill of entry filed on payment of duty. तो अमाउंट ऑफ जनरल बॉन्ड डिटरमाइंड बाय ACDC क्या होता है? ओके, सिंपली ये किसको दिया जाता है सर्विस? जिसने पास्ट बहुत इंपोर्ट किया, ड्यूटी पे किया है. ओके, एंड एंटिसिपेटेड इंपोर्ट्स एंड एक्सपेक्टेड रेवेन्यू इज इन्वॉल्व. So all the above bonds valid even if the goods transferred to another warehouse. If transferred to a person, transferee will execute and furnish the bond. तो बेसिकली क्या है, जनरल बॉन्ड एक एक्सपीरियंस्ड क्या है, इंपोर्टर को क्या है वो फैसिलिटी दी जाती है, और कंसाइनमेंट बॉन्ड जो है, ठीक है, वो एक नए इंपोर्टर को दी जाती है. कंसाइनमेंट बॉन्ड में बॉन्ड का अमाउंट इज 3x ऑफ द ड्यूटी पेबल. ड्यूटी पेबल कैसे आएगा? असेसेबल वैल्यू मल्टीप्लाई बाय रेट ऑफ एक्सचेंज मल्टीप्लाई बाय रेट ऑफ ड्यूटी. रेट ऑफ एक्सचेंज में कौन सा लेंगे? इनटू बॉन्ड बिल ऑफ एंट्री. रेट ऑफ ड्यूटी में एक्स बॉन्ड बिल ऑफ एंट्री. एंड जनरल बॉन्ड इज बेसिकली रनिंग अकाउंट. रनिंग अकाउंट यानी कि क्या? ओके, तो सिंपल है कि भाई फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने 1 करोड़ का बॉन्ड दिया है, राइट. अब क्या होगा? फॉर एग्जांपल मैंने 10 लाख के गुड्स क्लियर किए हैं, तो द प्रॉमिस इज नाउ फॉर 90 lakhs, राइट. तो इट विल कीप डेबिटिंग क्रेडिटिंग, डेबिटिंग क्रेडिट, डेबिटिंग क्रेडिटिंग, वैसा होते जाएगा. ठीक है. तो नाउ व्हाट आर द थिंग्स दैट यू विल रिमेंबर इन द एंटायर वेयरहाउस चैप्टर? ओके, फटाफट से मैं आपको क्या रिवाइज करवा रहा हूँ, सुन लो. सबसे पहले आपको क्या करना है? कस्टम पोर्ट से आप जाओगे कस्टम वेयरहाउस. फ्रॉम कस्टम पोर्ट यू विल गो टू कस्टम वेयरहाउस. कस्टम पोर्ट में व्हाट विल यू डू? ओके, डोंट लुक एट दिस, थिंक अबाउट इट. यू विल फाइल इनटू बॉन्ड बिल ऑफ एंट्री, राइट. You will give them surety and security. Okay, what is the amount of that? 3x of duty payable. And you will finally get order permitting to deposit the goods in warehouse. Once you get that, you take it to the custody of custodian. He will remove the goods and you can clear it to deposit in any warehouse. Now, the first thing that should come to your mind is कि अच्छा वेयर हाउस है, तो मैं कौन से वेयर हाउस में? पब्लिक, प्राइवेट या स्पेशल? डिपेंड करता है. नॉर्मली पब्लिक वेयर हाउसेज आर यूज्ड, पर तेरे पास खुद का वेयर हाउस है, लाइसेंस लेके रखा है, तो प्राइवेट वेयर हाउस में जा, उसमें तू तेरे ही गुड्स को संभाल पाएगा. स्पेशल वेयर हाउस ओनली विद रिस्पेक्ट टू नोटिफाइड गुड्स. स्पेशल वेयर हाउस में क्या है? लॉक एंड की सिस्टम है. डिपॉजिट, लॉक, रिमूव, unlock. Okay, second part of that is that do you have to renew the license annually? No. Acha, then comes what? Can the license be cancelled? Yes. Before that opportunity of being heard? Yes. But when there is pending inquiry, I have sent you the show cause, operations to be suspended, and whatever goods are existing in the warehouse, remove it. Either clear it for home consumption or export, या फिर transfer it to another warehouse. How many days? Within 7 days from such date of service of cancellation order. ठीक है. माई बैड, एक छोटा सा मिस्टेक हो गया यहाँ पे. जैसे कैंसिलेशन हो जाता है उसके बाद क्या है? विद इन 7 days निकालना. सस्पेंशन में मत निकालना, माई बैड. ओके, सस्पेंशन के बाद मत निकालना. ओके, कैंसिलेशन के बाद निकाल देना. सस्पेंशन में आप क्या करोगे? सिंपल, आप कोई गुड्स और लोगे नहीं. माई बैड. ओके, एंड आई विल टेल यू द लॉजिक कि सस्पेंशन में देर इज अ पॉसिबिलिटी दैट व्हेन यू आर ऑफर्ड द अपॉर्चुनिटी ऑफ बीइंग हर्ड, योर आर्ग्यूमेंट्स आर वैलिड एंड द पर्सन विल ड्रॉप द कैंसिलेशन प्रोसीडिंग्स. सो यू डोंट रिमूव द गुड्स, you keep it there. But let's say your arguments are not correct and he passes a cancellation order, then within 7 days you remove it. So within 7 days from the date of service of cancellation order आप निकाल लेंगे. ठीक है. Next is कि आज how many time can I keep my goods in the warehouse? तो बोला है with respect to goods for use in 100% DOU, EHTP, HTP till the time you clear it, till the time of clearance of goods from warehouse, unlimited period. अच्छा, but other than that तो बोला 1 year. अच्छा, but that is period for which you can make sure that the goods remain in the warehouse. But what about the fact with respect to interest? Interest will start from the 91st day. Okay, so 90 days from the order of deposit in warehouse, you can keep it interest free period from the 91st day. शुरू हो गया. Okay, very simple. Interest amount is 15% per annum. ठीक. Next is कि if the goods are removed from the warehouse after the approved period, then it will be deemed to be removed. So when goods which are not removed from the warehouse on time, understand they are improperly removed. तो आज अगर 1/4 से 4 क्या है 4 महीने के बाद, यानी कि क्या है 1/8 तक मुझे रिमूव कर देना चाहिए, पर मैंने नहीं किया, मैंने 1/9 को किया, तो 1/8 विल बी व्हाट, डीम्ड रिमूवल, और उसी दिन का रेट लग जाए. अच्छा, अगर कई बार क्या होता है, आपने वेयरहाउस में गुड्स लेकर आए एंड एक्सपोर्ट करवा दिए, अभी वो 90 डेज की बात किया है, डजेंट मैटर, इंटरेस्ट नहीं लगेगा बिकॉज उस पर ड्यूटी भी पेएबल नहीं था. अच्छा, मैन्युफैक्चर आप कहां कर सकते हो, प्राइवेट और स्पेशल में, बिकॉज वो पर्सनली उन्होंने अपना क्या वहां पे कैपेसिटी बिल्ड किया होगा. You cannot do it in public because public is meant for all dutiable goods. So you cannot create such kind of an infrastructure. ठीक है, उसमें वेस्ट का क्या सीन है, तो if destroyed do not pay, remitted. If not destroyed it is to be paid. और अगर होम कंजम्पशन क्लियर किया है तो भाई सिंपल सी बात, ID input duty charged on quantity of goods contained in waste. Okay, and the next important thing that needs to be taken into consideration is that with respect to cases which are improperly removed, which are they? Warehouse goods removed under section 71, not removed at the expiration of permitted period under 61, and goods which are not cleared for home consumption or export, okay, not as per the satisfaction of proper officer. और कितने साल तक आपको रखना है एज अ वेयरहाउस कीपर, यू आर द कस्टोडियन ऑफ वेयरहाउस, 5 साल तक आपको बुक्स ऑफ अकाउंट्स मेंटेन करना है फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ डिपॉजिट, नो, फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ रिमूवल ऑफ गुड्स. ठीक है, इसका एक छोटा सा क्या है सम है, चेक करो जा.
हेलो सर, आवाज आ रही है?
Vipul imported certain goods in May. An into bond bill of entry was presented on 14th May, and goods were cleared from the port for warehousing. Assessable value on that day was $10 lakh. The order permitting deposit of goods in warehouse for 4 months was issued on 21st May. Vipul deposited the goods in warehouse on the same day but did not clear the imported goods even after the warehousing period got over on 21st of September. A notice was issued under section 72 demanding duty and interest. Vipul cleared the goods on 14th October. Compute the amount of duty and interest payable by Vipul while removing the goods on the basis of following nature. Rate of exchange दिया है, BCD दिया है, बताओ क्या सीन हो. रेट ऑफ एक्सचेंज कौन सा लेंगे आप इन केस ऑफ वेयरहाउस्ड गुड्स? पूर्वी रेट ऑफ एक्सचेंज कौन सा दिन का लेंगे आप?
सर जब वेयर हाउस के अंदर लाइक वेयर हाउस
टर्म क्या है वो? टर्म क्या है वो?
सॉरी
व्हाट इज दैट टर्म?
क्लियर फॉर वेयर हाउसिंग या clear
इनटू
for-
बॉन्ड बिल ऑफ एंट्री.
हाँ इनटू बॉन्ड. सर एक्चुअली जो इनटू बॉन्ड एक्स बॉन्ड ये जो टर्म्स है ना वो मतलब मेरे को नहीं समझ में आता है.
सिंपल है. इनटू बॉन्ड यानी कि क्या? यू आर गेटिंग इनटू द वेयर हाउस.
ओके
एक्स बॉन्ड का मतलब क्या है? व्हेन यू आर गेटिंग आउट ऑफ द वेयर हाउस. तो पोर्ट टू वेयर हाउस इनटू बॉन्ड. warehouse to your factory x bond. It's x because you have removed it now. Simple. तो आज पहले क्या कंप्यूट करते हैं हम लोग? अपने को पहले वैल्यू चाहिए. तो वैल्यू के लिए क्या चाहिए? बिकॉज अंडरस्टैंड कंसाइनमेंट वैल्यू विल बी इन डॉलर्स. तो यू विल गेट अ वैल्यू इन INR ओनली बाय मल्टीप्लाइंग इट विथ व्हाट?
बिल
रेट ऑफ एक्सचेंज.
हाँ
तो रेट ऑफ एक्सचेंज कौन सा लेंगे? तो पहला स्टेप रेट ऑफ एक्सचेंज. पहला स्टेप वेयर हाउस में जाने का इनटू बॉन्ड बिल ऑफ एंट्री. दूसरा स्टेप रेट ऑफ ड्यूटी. दूसरा स्टेप गुड्स निकालना. अभी वेयर हाउस में है तो निकालना है वेयर हाउस से एक्स बॉन्ड बिल ऑफ एंट्री. तो इनटू बॉन्ड बिल ऑफ एंट्री का डेट क्या है? देखो जरा चेक करो.
ट्वेंटी फर्स्ट में.
क्यों 21 में? 14th में यार.
नो सर 14th में 14th.
पहला ही लाइन है बे अंधी.
हाँ
हाँ 65 rupees 20 paisa. And what will be the rate of duty?
so that will be
उसको बोला था ऑर्डर परमिटिंग डिपॉजिट इन वेयर हाउस फॉर 4 months was issued on 21st May.
21st मई का रहेगा. सॉरी इसमें तो वो है ही नहीं. 14th मई का ही रहेगा फिर रेट.
नहीं, उसको क्या बोला था कि भाई तुझे क्लियर कर देने हैं गुड्स विद इन 4 months. ठीक है. तो दैट इज द वेयर हाउसिंग पीरियड गॉट ओवर व्हेन 21st September. तो तब तक तुझे क्लियर करवा देना था, पर तूने नहीं करवाया. तूने करवाया कभी 14th October को. तो गवर्नमेंट बोलता है नहीं, आई विल नॉट टेक द रेट ऑफ ड्यूटी ऑफ 14th October, आई विल टेक इट ऑन 21st September बिकॉज तूने क्लियर नहीं किया. आई डोंट गिव अ डैम. आई डोंट गिव अ डैम वेदर यू क्लियर्ड इट और नॉट. यू शुड हैव क्लियर्ड. तो आई विल कंसिडर दैट डेट एज द डीम्ड रिमूवल पीरियड. So for me, you have cleared on that day only. So which is why I'm picking up on that rate of duty. So that's 21st of September.
Sir,
Hmm.
sir, can we say that कि ये exception होगा?
Yes.
मतलब rate of duty should be as on
Ex bond bill of entry.
X bond bill of
But whenever you exceed the period which is given in your order, that time, at that time they are saying that I cannot extend it to that date. I will consider that this is the deemed removal period.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Simple. So that is something that you will have to figure out. Okay. So focus on that year wala period. I feel warehouse mein generally the questions can be asked from that part only. Otherwise other things are just theory. Okay, that's it. Now my dear friends, it's very important that we start फटाफट से these छोटू मोटू topics we have left with, but sometimes they are also asked. जैसे for example last 2 attempts in the last out of the last 5 or 6 attempts, okay, the last question, 6th or the 7th question, they are always very theory questions, complete theory questions. They ask absurd questions. Like one of the questions was explain from where customs concept has arrived and also the entries covered under what the Constitution of India wala case. तो उसमें you have to write the story, which is why I've given you that history. that where does the word customs come from, right? So firstly understand that customs actually comes from a very ancient practice, and that is something that who started? Kautilya, Chanakya, in his Arthashastra, referring it as what? Shulka. Referring it as what? Shulka. Okay. Consisting of import duty and export duty to be collected at the city gates on both goods coming in and out. Subsequently, the levy of tax on goods imported into the country was organized through legislation during the British period. Very simple. Okay. Now the thing is that what happened is that who had to pay Shulka? All those people who wanted to trade their goods in India, especially the Middle East countries, Europeans, who always took goods with them and traveled India. Chanakya told its army that listen, there will be pehredars, gatekeepers on the borders of the Mauryan Empire. If someone wants to enter and do business, that person will have to pay to the administration of the king, and that is by the way of Shulka. So you pay it and then you enter. You pay it and then you enter. Right? Now this practice became extremely popular amongst all the nations, and all the nations got thing very clear in my mind that if they want to trade in India, they will have to give Shulka, and only then they can enter India. Now this became a customary practice, and from there the word custom comes. That it's a custom to pay Shulka and then enter India. So Shulka seems to be a very orthodox word or old word, ancient word. Government said keep it customs. Okay, very simple. Now from where does it arise? Obviously Article 246, list 1, entry number 83. Union has the power to frame laws, to levy duties of customs including exports. That is where it comes from. So you have to remember this entry number 83. You may never know, they may ask because they have asked it in past. So please remember, entry number 83 gives the power to central government to levy customs duty. This is not shared by states. Achha. Charging section 12. Very simple. What is the charging section? Duties of customs shall be levied at such rates that may be specified under Custom Tariff Act 1975 on goods imported or exported from India. Now understand that the thing is very very simple, and that is that सबसे पहले हम लोग goods का part बताएंगे कि what is goods. तो goods includes conveyance. Conveyance includes vessel, aircraft, vehicle, except trains. What else? Achha, so basically what does that mean? It only means that if you are purchasing any aircraft, which generally India does, because there is no Indian manufacturer who creates aircrafts till now. What a shame. We all have to either purchase it from Russia or from France or from Germany. Mostly it's from France and Russia. All our fighter jets and all our Airbuses, right? So if you're importing that, lag jayega duty. Okay, next is stores. Goods used on board a conveyance. Okay, and that conveyance is basically nothing but vessel and aircraft. Example, foods, drinks, medical items, and it includes what? Spare part and fuels. So what does that mean? You know what? It means that, for example, let's say there is a aircraft. ओके, क्लासिक एग्जांपल मैं देता हूँ किंगफिशर के एयरक्राफ्ट का या जेट एयरवेज के एयरक्राफ्ट. सो कंसिडर दैट इट हैज गॉन फ्रॉम न्यूयॉर्क एयरपोर्ट टू मुंबई एयरपोर्ट, एंड देन DCGA cancels its license and say you cannot fly anymore to any international destinations. You can fly only in domestic destinations. So now understand that aircraft, if it has 1000 liters of petrol, it will be subject to custom duty. And who will pay that? Obviously airline. But there is a beautiful way to evade this. How? Let's say if there is another fleet of aircrafts which are not banned by DCG, so you can shift that fuel from this aircraft to that aircraft. You won't have to pay. अच्छा, गुड्स की डेफिनेशन में और क्या आता है? बैगेज, पर्सनल लगेज ऑफ पैसेंजर और क्रू. It includes unaccompanied baggage, excludes motor vehicles. We yesterday only did it. Currency and negotiable instruments. Yes, even money is a part of goods, whereas it's not in the case of GST. GST में the definition of goods and service both excludes money, but here it includes money. Why? Because government want to make sure that it is covered in the definition of goods. Why? So that it can at least monitor it. It at least has the right to monitor it. It is not subject to any tax, any duties. It is only for the purpose of monitoring reasons, so that it can make some laws where it can check the currency, inflow and outflow of currency. Acha, any kind of movable property includes intangibles also imported in physical media. So for example, I have imported any software through a physical media device. Then in that case, please try and understand it will be subject to import duty because it does fall under the definition of goods. Acha, understand in Associated Cement case, this is what was held, right? That if you just download software, that is service. But if you purchase software from outside India in a physical media device, that is by the way of any CD or any pen drive, then definitely it is goods. It is subject to import duty. Okay, second part is what is import. So when goods are bought into India from a place outside India, but does not include goods that have got cleared for home consumption. So it's very wrong basically. Let's say if I go to Heath's place, and Heath must have recently gone to Dubai. So I see a lot of these perfumes and a lot of shopping at his end. And I'm like, अरे ये तो imported है ना? ये तो imported है ना? So Heath should be in a position to correct me by saying, sir, imported है नहीं, imported था. Now it is duty paid. It is normal goods only. It is not imported anymore. What does that mean? That the status of imported goods leaves your goods once you pay the duty. But till that time you have not paid the duty, those are still imported goods. And if you have taken the goods outside the customs area without payment of duty, then you have smuggled those goods and you will be subject to a lot of provisions that you have no clue of. Okay. Acha, what is the taxable event of import? Very simple. Whenever two things happen, okay, understand here, your taxable event starts when the goods cross TWI while it's heading towards the Indian landmass. So as soon as you cross TWI, territorial waters of India, you have commenced the taxable event. But the taxable event will get completed only once, okay, the goods reach the customs barrier and bill of entry is filed. What does that mean? What does that mean? That very simple. This taxable event that has started will complete only when the importer files bill of entry for home consumption, because only then the duty will be confirmed that since this is going for home consumption, it will be consumed in India, and thereby India rightfully has the right to take the duty. So in case of import, it starts when it crosses TWI and it ends, okay, when the bill of entry is filed. Acha, when it comes to exports, my dear friends, goods which are taken out of India to a place outside India, तो मैं goods को अगर बाहर ही भेज रहा हूं, it is exports. What is the taxable event? When it crosses TWI. So I don't give a damn what happens to goods when it crosses TWI. It will be considered an exports, and if it is considered an exports, I will be subject to duty drawback, I will be subject to refund, I will be subject to all those benefits that are given to me because I have exported goods. So in import, when you cross TWI, the taxable event starts. When does it end? When the recipient files bill of entry for home consumption. But in exports, you are taking the goods from Indian landmass to US. So as soon as it crosses TWI, it is considered that it is exported. Now, even if that consignment sinks in the water midway, doesn't matter. I will consider it as exports, and I will take all the benefits that I'm supposed to take with respect to import of goods. Okay, and India, as you all know, landmass of India, TWI, continent.
सर अगर इंपोर्ट के वक्त सिंक हो गया तो
Sorry,
अगर इंपोर्ट के वक्त सिंक हो गया तो
नहीं तो नहीं, सिंक की बात नहीं है. पहले तो देखो, आज अगर आपने क्या है उसमें, एक काम करता हूँ मैं, इस पे आता हूँ. इस पे एक्चुअली क्या है, एग्जेम्पशंस दिए हैं, सेक्शन 13 है, 21 है, 22 है. तो आई एम कमिंग टू दैट. इट इज द नेक्स्ट थिंग ओनली. देर आर केसेस ऑफ pilferage and damage and deteriorated and stole and all of that. I'm coming to that because it is very important that when such kind of unfortunate event happens, that duration is very important. India, as you all know, तो उतना ही है, ज़्यादा कुछ इसमें चर्चा करने जैसी नहीं है. जो करनी थी वो फ्रैंकली स्पीकिंग वही करनी थी कि यार टैक्सेबल इवेंट दोनों का चेक कर लो. क्या यस, यहाँ पे आंसर आएगा गुड्स पिल्फर्ड, लॉस्ट और डिस्ट्रॉयड और डैमेज्ड. Okay, so basically when we talk about section 30, very simple. तो देखो, जैसे ही गुड्स क्या अनलोड हो जाता है, वंस द गुड्स आर अनलोडेड on the port and before order for clearance for home consumption or deposit in warehouse. So between this part anywhere if the goods are pilfered, no duties payable. Why? Because understand, the goods were actually in the custody of custodian. So who is responsible? Custodian. Who will pay the duty? Custodian. अच्छा, रेट ऑफ ड्यूटी कौन सा लिया जाएगा? तो रेट प्रिवेलिंग ऑन द डेट ऑफ डिलीवरी ऑफ इंपोर्ट मैनिफेस्ट या इंपोर्ट रिपोर्ट. अच्छा, व्हाट इफ अगर ये गुड्स को चोरी कर लिया गया? तो वेरी सिंपल, और चोरी करके रिस्टोर कर लिया गया. बिकॉज अंडरस्टैंड, पिल्फरेज इज पेटी थेफ्ट, चिंदी चोरी. और वो चोरी क्या है? पकड़ी गई या आपने पकड़ लिया, उसने सामने से सरेंडर कर दिया, आई डोंट गिव अ डैम. द गुड्स आर रिस्टोर्ड बैक, so they are back at the disposal of importer. Then again from custodian the liability will shift to importer, right? तो importer का था, चोरी होगा, custodian restored back from custodian again back to importer. Okay.
सर एक डाउट है,
हाँ,
इंपोर्ट मैनिफेस्ट क्या होता है?
इंपोर्ट मैनिफेस्ट हम लोग करेंगे इंपोर्ट प्रोसीजर में. इंपोर्ट मैनिफेस्ट इज बेसिकली फाइल्ड बाय PIC. ओके, PIC इज पर्सन इन चार्ज. तो जैसे ही वो 12 नॉटिकल माइल के पर्सन इन चार्ज, एज इन पर्सन इन चार्ज ऑफ द वेसल, तो जैसे ही वो क्या है 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स के नज़दीक आता है, इंपोर्ट हो रहा है ना, तो US से आ रहा है वो, तो जैसे एज सुन एज ही कम्स नियरर टू द 12 नॉटिकल माइल्स, ही फाइल्स PIC with the proper officer, customs officer, that these are the goods that I am having in my vessel and I am going to unload these goods on your port. Simple. And he has to disclose all the goods in his vessel, because if he discloses 100 units and it happens to be कि वो अगर क्या है निकले 150 यूनिट्स, तो 50 यूनिट्स का उसे जुर्माना भरना पड़ेगा, बिकॉज उसने कम दिखाया है. ठीक है, ओके. तो 13 में प्लीज मेक श्योर दैट द थिंग इज वेरी क्लियर. व्हाट इज द सिचुएशन? फर्स्ट रिमेंबर दैट सेक्शन 13 टॉक्स अबाउट व्हाट? पिल्फरेज. ओके, पेटी थेफ्ट. ओके, पेटी थेफ्ट. व्हेन इट शुड हैपन? आफ्टर अनलोडिंग, but before order for clearance for either home consumption or deposit in warehouse. Order is important. The word order is very important. तो इस बीच गुड्स ही कहाँ होंगे? कस्टडी ऑफ कस्टोडियन. कस्टडी ऑफ कस्टोडियन. तो वहां से क्या है, अगर आपकी चिंदी चोरी हुई है, पिल्फरेज हुई है, तो you as an importer are not supposed to pay. So no duty payable by importer. Okay, so instead of importer, who will pay? The custodian will pay. At what rate? Rate prevailing on the date of delivery of import manifest या import report. And in case they are restored back, the concept is very simple. In that case, again the liability will shift from custodian to importer back. Questions do arise. Sir, what if the pilferage happens before unloading or after the order is passed? Right? So in that case, just one conclusion, section 13 will not apply. Okay, section 13 will not apply. As simple as that. Section 13 will apply only when the goods are in the custody of custodian. And when does that happen? After unloading, before order. Simple. Acha, 23(1) talks about any time before actual clearance for home consumption. So what do you mean by actual clearance? Very simple. Understand that you have got order for clearance. For home consumption on 1/4, and you actually clear your goods. On 4/4 ड्यू टू एनी लॉजिस्टिकल इशू, ट्रक वर्क रेडी नहीं था यार, आपका गुड्स का पैकिंग हो रहा था, वट एवर द केस. तो गवर्नमेंट सेज दैट दिस डेट needs to be taken into account, and before this date if the goods are lost or destroyed, the duty will be remitted. तो फर्स्ट थिंग्स फर्स्ट, अंडरस्टैंड ऑर्डर के पहले भी सबसे पहले क्या हुआ गाँव पता है, लेट्स से 31 मार्च को फाइलिंग ऑफ बिल ऑफ एंट्री, plus duty must have been paid. Then order is passed, and then what say let's happens is goods are lost or destroyed. So do you realize duty is already paid, order is passed, but before that, let's say somewhere on 2/4 the goods are lost or destroyed, government says I will return you back that duty, don't worry, I will remit you the duty back, I will refund you the duty back. Got it? Okay. तो आज वर्ड क्या लिखा, एक्चुअल क्लियरेंस फॉर होम कंजम्पशन. नाउ अंडरस्टैंड, इफ माय गुड्स आर इन कस्टम्स वेयरहाउस, there also understand there are two events. One is clearance of goods for home consumption, यानी warehouse to home consumption, यानी warehouse to factory, और दूसरा actual clearance. तो गवर्नमेंट सेज दैट यहां पे भी क्या है, अगर कोई चोरी होती है तो ठीक है चलेगा, मैं यहाँ पे भी बेनिफिट देने के लिए तैयार हूँ, बिकॉज अंडरस्टैंड एक्चुअल क्लियरेंस फॉर होम कंजम्पशन मीन्स व्हाट, एक्चुअली यू हैव क्लियर्ड आइदर फ्रॉम पोर्ट टू फैक्ट्री या फिर वेयर हाउस टू फैक्ट्री. सिंपल, इट्स अ ह्यूज रेंज. It is not order for clearance, it is actual clearance, and which is why if the goods are lost or destroyed even in the warehouse, doesn't matter. But याद रखना, in this case the duty will be remitted, but no duty will, but when I say remitted it means it has waived off. What do I mean by that waived off? सर आपने तो पहले इंस्टेंस में रिफंड बोला था. यस, बिकॉज देयर एट दैट जंक्चर ड्यूटी वाज पेड, हियर द ड्यूटी इज नॉट पेड, एंड गवर्नमेंट सेज ड्यूटी इज नॉट पेड, ड्यूटी विल नॉट इवन बी पेड. सो इफ यू हैव नॉट पेड, डोंट पे आल्सो अहेड. एंड ऑफ डिस्कशन, राइट? सो समवेयर रेमिशन मीन्स refund and somewhere remission means to waive off. Okay, but understand that when I say goods lost or destroyed, that lost should be other than pilferage, because pilferage is obviously covered under section 13, that is the above section. अच्छा, 23(2) क्या है? Any time before order for clearance for home consumption or deposit in warehouse. So before the order for clearance for home consumption is passed, you can relinquish your title in goods. If you do that, no duty payable. So understand one thing, here we are talking about relinquishing the title in goods on the customs port. कस्टम पोर्ट पे हूं तभी क्या है, गवर्नमेंट ने बोल दिया है टाइटल रेलिंक्विश करना है, कर दे, बस ऑर्डर के पहले कर देना. तो तो तेरे को ड्यूटी पे नहीं करवाऊंगा मैं। पर तू क्या करता है, तू नहीं करता है ऐसा, थोड़ा कंफ्यूज है, तू थोड़ा और गेम खेलता है, तू बोलता है मैं वेयर हाउस लेके जाऊंगा, तो थोड़ा और टाइम मिल जाएगा। और वेयर हाउस में यू रियलाइज दैट अगेन देर इज अनदर ऑप्शन लाइक दिस विच सेज दैट इन वेयर हाउस ऑल्सो यू फील दैट दीज गुड्स they don't belong to you, you can relinquish right there also in the warehouse, but those sections will be covered under warehousing provisions, not under 23(2). Okay, so here they are talking about relinquishing of title when the goods are in port, there when the goods are in warehouse. तो 23(2) does not apply to warehouse goods, बिकॉज लिखा ही ऑर्डर फॉर क्लियरेंस फॉर होम कंजम्पशन या डिपॉजिट इन वेयरहाउस के पहले क्या है, रिलिंक्विश कर देना। तो 23(2) इज नॉट फॉर वेयरहाउस गुड्स। ओके, 23(1) इज।
So 13 is also for not warehouse goods.
और no, only
13.
goods on the port,
So
goods
for
on the
not
port,
for warehouse goods.
बिकॉज वहां पे भी डिपॉजिट के पहले वाला केसेस ही लेना है। सो ओनली 23(1) is for warehouse goods because the word used there is actual clearance and others it is order for clearance.
So, like आपने जो warehousing chapter में पढ़ाया, according to that we can clear in warehouse, right? No, relinquish in warehouse, right?
वापस बोल।
warehousing chapter में अभी आपने पढ़ाया ना कि बफर relinquish कर सकते हैं, so we can do that, मतलब we cannot do it under 23(2),
हाँ, but we can do under that relevant
warehousing
section.
chapter. Okay, sir.
So if you will ask me, is relinquishment of title possible in warehouse? Yes. But is it possible under 23(2)? No. Okay. Next is damaged or deteriorated. Okay. Damaged or deteriorated goods. So now the first case. If the goods are damaged or deteriorated before or during the unloading of goods. So before the unloading, yeah, during the unloading. If the goods are damaged or deteriorated, you can get the abatement. Next. Understand this explanation only belongs to damaged goods. Not to damaged or deteriorated, only damaged. This is for both. This is only for damaged. So if they are damaged or deteriorated before unloading, during unloading, abatement. If they are damaged anytime after unloading but before the assessment done by customs authorities, मिलेगा. Anytime before actual clearance for home consumption, मिलेगा. ठीक है? Except where any accident due to willful act, negligence या फिर default of owner or employee. ठीक है? अच्छा, अबेटमेंट कैसे मिलेगा? वेरी सिंपल। आज ओके, अगर फॉर एग्जाम्पल देयर वर 10,000 यूनिट्स, but out of that 2000 units got damaged. तो 10,000 यूनिट्स पे यू आर पेइंग 10 lakhs ऑफ ड्यूटी, तो यहाँ पे आएगा 2 lakhs. तो आज सिंपल सी बात है, आपके पास अनडैमेज्ड कितने हैं 800 यूनिट्स, तो आपको पे करना पड़ेगा 8 लाख. ओके, तो सिंपल है. तो अबेटमेंट अमाउंट निकालने के लिए सबसे पहले आप क्या करोगे, अमाउंट ऑफ ड्यूटी पेबल बिफोर डैमेज, दैट इज 10 lakhs मल्टीप्लाई बाय वैल्यू ऑफ डैमेज, ओके, डिवाइडेड बाय वैल्यू ऑफ गुड्स बिफोर डैमेज, तो 20%, तो इतना अबेटमेंट मिलेगा, दैट इज 2 lakhs. तो नेट पेबल होगा 10 माइनस अबेटमेंट, 10 माइनस 2 8, सिंपल. अच्छा, सेक्शन 24 क्या है? सेक्शन 24 वेरी इजी माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, denaturing or mutilation of goods. So for example, this is a classic example that module has given, ethyl alcohol. Now while I am importing ethyl alcohol, it has two purposes. It can be used for medicinal purpose also and alcoholic liquor also. But if I import it as ethyl alcohol only, which has two purposes, it will attract higher rate of duty. But if I only understand, I have imported ethyl alcohol which has two purposes, but in the warehouse, for example, I mutilated, denatured, basically I change the characteristic of it and make it only suitable for one purpose, and let's say that is medicinal purpose, because I want to make medicine out of it. Then is it now usable for more than 2 or 3 purposes? No. Is it is only usable for one purpose. What is that purpose? Medicinal. तो medicine का ही rate लगेगा फिर. So why do you mutilate or denature? So that you don't land up or you don't attract higher rate of tax or duty. You mutilate it and you remove that mutilated version of goods, you will be subject to the import duty of that mutilated goods only. Okay. And last is section 21, derelict, jetsam, flotsam, wreck. Derelict is any cargo or vessel abandoned into the sea with no recovery of hope, right? जैसे कि टाइटैनिक. Jetsam is goods jettisoned from the vessel to save her from sinking. So basically a lot of times, as you know, that in Titanic, while it was about to get into the submerge into the sea, what these guys do to reduce the weight of the vessel, they started taking off all the heavy items from outside the ship, so that the ship becomes lighter and these people can survive. So all those goods which are thrown outside the vessel to save her from sinking, so the goods which are thrown out, they are called jetsam. Acha, if the same goods which are thrown out, if they start floating on the water, they are called flotsam. And wreck is basically cargo or vessel or any property which is cast on shore by tides after shipwreck. तो जो बेसिकली आपको मिलेगी कहाँ पे, लैंड मास पे, जो तैरते तैरते आ रही है कहाँ पे, वो सी या ओशन से लैंड मास पे. अभी आप समझो, वो अगर आपने क्या है, वो आप लेकर आए हो या आपने क्लेम किया आपकी है, तो आपको उसको इंपोर्ट ड्यूटी पे करना पड़ेगा. क्यों? बिकॉज ये नहीं होता प्रोविजन, तो यू नो व्हाट पीपल मस्ट हैव डन, as soon as 12 nautical miles starts, they would have started throwing the goods in the water. फिर एक छोटी टुकड़ी जाती, एक छोटी यूनिट जाती, वो सब गुड्स को क्या लेकर आती. कस्टम ऑफिसर पूछा कहाँ से, अरे कहाँ से पगले, कहाँ से आए? तो बुला रहे यहाँ पे, हम लोग तो फिशरमैन थे, डुबकी लगाया, मिल गया सोना हीरा मोती, तो लेकर जा रहे क्योंकि वो हमारा है. उसने बोला हाँ तेरा, तूने ढूंढा तेरा है, पर उस पर ड्यूटी पे करके जा पाए. सिंपल, समझा? ड्यूटी पे करके जा. बिकॉज इस तरह से लोग क्या है, टैक्स इवेड करने लगे थे बाय थ्रोइंग गुड्स इन द वाटर. and bringing them in India, saying that I have not purchased it from USA, मुझे तो पानी में मिला डुबकी मार के मेरे, उस पे क्या import duty? Because they can clearly say, right, that I got it within TWI, 12 nautical miles. And if I am purchasing something within TWI and coming to another part of India, that's actually traveling from one part of India to another part of India. So that is not import only. And there is no one to prove that कि actually वो बाहर का था या अंदर का आदमी था. उसने कहां से एक्चुअली लेकर आया वो कौन बताएगा, कोई नहीं बता सकता. तो गवर्नमेंट ने बोला भाई कुछ भी कर, इट्स वेरी सिंपल, यू ब्रिंग इट इन द शोर, इट्स सिंपल, यू पे ड्यूटी ऑन दैट, doesn't matter it's derelict, jetsam, floatsam या wreck. So you don't need to remember the definitions of this, but you just need to remember you find any of the 4 things and you bring it up to the Indian shore, it's considered as good as you've imported these goods into India, it will be subject to import duty. अच्छा, इसमें एक इंटरेस्टिंग चीज थी, क्वेश्चन नंबर 5 मॉड्यूल का क्वेश्चन है 1.35. in case you have a module, solve it and tell me what will happen in this case. Okay. Peerless scraps imported during August by a sea, a consignment of metal scrap weighing 6,000 metric ton from USA. They filed bill of entry for home consumption. The assistant commissioner passed an order for clearance of goods. An applicable duty was paid by them. Peerless scraps therefore found on taking delivery from the Port Trust Authority, that is before clearance for home consumption, that only 5,500 metal scraps are available. That means, okay, 500 जो है, the short delivery of 500 metric ton was also substantiated by the Port Trust authorities who gave the payment certificate. Only on representation to the custom department, peerless scraps has been directed in writing to justify as to the provision of customs governs their claim for remission of duty on 500 meters not delivered by the port trust. You have been approached. तो ये 500 मीटर कम मिला है, और ये कहां से कम मिला है देखो जरा. पोर्ट ट्रस्ट अथॉरिटी के पास आया था, आप समझो. They had paid duty for entire 6,000 metric ton since there was no short landing of cargo when it entered the custody of custodian. But हुआ क्या? 500 metric ton चुरा लिया गया है before clearance for home consumption. Now the thing here is that you might think कि damn यहाँ पे तो यार section 13 looks nice because it is after unloading but before order for clearance for home consumption. But let me tell you something. Section 13 covers only pilferage. Section 13 covers only pilferage. Pilferage is petty theft. Now your 500 metric tons have got lost out of 6,000 units. That is almost 10%, 9 to 10%. Government says that is a huge amount. You cannot consider that as a petty theft. So we will not cover this under section 13. We will cover this under section 23 subsection 1. And इसीलिए यहाँ पे remission मिल जाएगा. Okay, that's it. Okay. ओके 15 मिनट का छोटा सा ब्रेक ले लेते हैं अपन, और उसके बाद वी विल रैप अप द एंटायर डिस्कशन बिकॉज एनी विच वेज इम्पोर्ट प्रोसीजर इज लेफ्ट. ये तो टाइम पास है. री इम्पोर्ट and classification, these 3 topics are only left, so we will hardly take like one hour max in this. 1 hour 15 minutes. ठीक है, तो वो आराम से 1 घंटे में हो जाएगा. प्लीज यार आज जिन्होंने भी क्या है कस्टम्स को टाइम नहीं दिया दे देना भाई, आज टाइम बचेगा आपके पास. Okay, so now we are doing import procedure. Let's quickly do it. So now with respect to import procedure, my dear friends, the concept is very simple. Okay, let's understand first thing that there are 3 people involved here. First is the PIC, person in charge, who is basically the master of the vessel, right, or for that matter the pilot, basically the captain, okay, of the aircraft. So he will bring the goods all the way from outside India to in India, right? So that is definitely one thing that is happening. So PIC will first interact with proper officer, and then importer will then interact with the proper officer. So there are 3 people involved. Okay, PIC, PO, importer. So the first flow goes something like the goods are arrived at the custom station. So they are arrived at the custom station where they should have been arrived. Okay, and they have to arrive at the custom station only, not some era gera का लूट के पता चला मरीन ड्राइव के बाहर खड़े. It cannot happen like that. Now, as soon as they reach near 12 nautical miles, PIC will understand. PIC will file import manifest or import report. Acha, import manifest will be filed by who? By simple aircraft या फिर vessel. An import report will be filed by the PIC of vehicle. When will it be filed? Before arrival of vessel or aircraft, right? On the customs port or airport. An import report you have to file within 12 hours of arrival. तो import manifest पहले करना और import report बाद में करना. बाद में कितना? Within 12 hours of arrival. And what are the details to be written in import manifest and import report? You have to give the details of all the goods being bought from one country to another country. ठीक है? And you have to carefully make that list, because if you miss out on any items and while you are actually unloading there are more items, understand, okay, you will clearly be charged with the crime of landing something that you have not mentioned. That will lead to confiscation of goods. तो आपका खामियाजा importer भरे, because it will be said that importer has told you to not write in import manifest and thereby you have not written it. So if there are 100 units and you write only 50, the 50 will be confiscated. Okay, so please make that list very carefully. Now, as soon as, with respect to vessel at least, when the vessel reaches the port, it's very important that the PO grants entry inward to PIC. Now that gives the right to the PIC to unload the goods. Entry inward मिल गया, now I can unload the goods. तो जैसे ही entry inward मिला, PIC will unload the goods on the port, right? But this will be given only to the master of the vessel, not vehicle or aircraft. Okay, once the goods are unloaded, firstly the goods will be unloaded only in working hours, okay, and only under the supervision of proper officer. Okay, and only those goods which are mentioned in import manifest or import report will be unloaded. Simple. Acha, now the goods are unloaded. Who will keep it? It will be kept under the custody of custodian. Under the custody of custodian. Very simple. ठीक है, ये केस. अच्छा, क्या बोला था मैंने? कितने टाइम तक रह सकता है पोर्ट पे? 30 days. There we are. Okay, there we are. Within 30 days, either clear it for home consumption, either deposit in the warehouse, ट्रांसशिपमेंट करवा दो, निकालो उसको कुछ भी करके. अच्छा, कैसे निकालेंगे? By filing bill of entry. Either you file bill of entry for home consumption, warehouse, ट्रांसशिपमेंट. अच्छा, अगर क्या है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल होम कंजम्पशन है, तो व्हाट विल यू डू? अच्छा, बाय द टाइम व्हेन विल यू फाइल द बिल ऑफ एंट्री? तो देर आर टू टाइम लाइन्स. ओके, there are two timelines. Bill of entry can be filed before also, after also. Before को बोलेंगे advance filing of bill of entry. अच्छा, what do you mean by that? Very simple. That was before even the goods have arrived. You have filed the bill of entry, but you have to make sure that if you file the bill of entry, let's say on 1/4, the goods should arrive the custom port or airport within 30 days. Make sure this happens. Got it? तो यहाँ पे क्या किया? पहले बिल ऑफ एंट्री फाइल किया, फिर गुड्स आए.
Sir,
एक सेकेंड,
can you please repeat?
और दूसरा क्या होगा? दूसरा होगा आफ्टर द अराइवल ऑफ गुड्स यू हैव फाइल्ड बिल ऑफ एंट्री, तो तभी भी अलाउड है, तभी भी अलाउड है, पर कब तक? फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर 1/4 को क्या गुड्स आए तो यू हैव टू फाइल बिफोर द एंड ऑफ 1/5, एक दिन का टाइम दिया, ठीक है, दैट्स इट। हाँ अब बोल अवनी।
नहीं सर, सिर्फ रिपीट करने बोला, फर्स्ट वाला पार्ट था ना जो।
हाँ फर्स्ट वाला पार्ट यही था बेटा कि देर आर टू वेज इन विच बिल ऑफ एंट्री बी फाइल्ड, वन इज एडवांस बिल ऑफ एंट्री एंड वन इज आफ्टर द गुड्स हैव अराइव्ड, वो वाला बिल ऑफ एंट्री। तो एडवांस बिल ऑफ एंट्री इज दिस, राइट, एनी टाइम बिफोर 30 days ऑफ एक्सपेक्टेड अराइवल ऑफ द कन्वेयंस, राइट। तो आपने फाइल कर दिया 1/4 को, तो 1/5 को मेक श्योर दैट द कन्वेयंस इज अराइव्ड, राइट। एंड अगर बाद में करना है तो दिस इज द डेट, दैट इज बिफोर द एंड ऑफ द डे प्रीसीडिंग द डे ऑन विच एयरक्राफ्ट वेसल इज अराइव्ड एट द कस्टम स्टेशन। संक्षिप्त में बोले तो वेरी सिंपल, इन दिस केस 1/4 को किया है तो 1/5 के पहले आ जाना चाहिए, ठीक है, बिफोर द एंड ऑफ द डे प्रीसीडिंग द डे ऑन विच द, तो कल का दिन है तो बिफोर द एंड ऑफ द डे प्रीसीडिंग द डे, ठीक है। तो कल तेरा एयरक्राफ्ट आया तो अभी नेक्स्ट दिन जो है उसके एंड के पहले क्या है, बिल ऑफ एंट्री फाइल कर देना, ठीक है। तो ये क्या है, इंपॉर्टेंट है, ये चीज याद रखना, इसके रिलेशन में क्वेश्चन आ सकता है। टाइम लिमिट बिफोर आफ्टर याद रख लेना, बिफोर तो ठीक है कर दिया, विद इन 30 days इट शुड अराइव, कन्वेयंस शुड अराइव, एंड इफ इट इज आफ्टर अराइवल ऑफ गुड्स देन विद इन 1 day, ठीक है। अच्छा, एंड आई इंश्योर दैट वाइल यू आर फाइलिंग बिल ऑफ एंट्री यू ऑल्सो पे ड्यूटी एट द सेम टाइम। It's just like our 3B, that if you don't pay, 3B is not filed. So just like this, bill of entry is just a return only, where you are giving the hisab kitab, you are showing the accountability that okay, this is what is my, these are my goods and I am supposed to pay duty on that. Simple. And you also pay at the same time, ठीक है। So if you want that your goods are cleared for home consumption, you file the bill of entry, you pay the duty and they are removed. You will get order for clearance for home consumption. Got it? And if you want it to, okay, clear it for home warehouse, then you will have to file into bond bill of entry. And if you want to remove it from the warehouse, ex bond bill of entry plus payment of duty. क्योंकि तब निकाल रहे हो ना फिर, सिंपल। नाउ there are two types of assessment, self assessment and reassessment. So self assessment done by the importer, it is verified by the proper officer. If found proper, order for a clearance for home consumption will be filed, will be given, and once you have that order you can remove the goods from the port. But understand, okay, understand, if it is found incorrect, then in that case there will be reassessment done by proper officer. If importer accepts the reassessment, a proper officer shall pass a speaking order within 15 days from the date of reassessment. As soon as he pays it, order for clearance for home consumption will be passed. And the next is very important from exam perspective, provisional assessment. First you need to know the reasons for the same, कि provisional assessment trigger कब होगा. And second important aspect that they can generally ask is the calculation of interest, because either you will have to land up paying or either you will end up receiving. So in case of provisional assessment, understand where the importer or exporter is unable to make self-assessment and makes a request in writing to the proper officer for assessment. So you are unable to make self-assessment. Make a request to PO that I can't figure out what the value or what the rate is applicable to my consignment. Please help. Second, where the proper officer deems it necessary, subject to any imported goods, that you need any chemical testing. Why? Because the goods that you are claiming it to be, I don't think they are the same. I need some chemical testing, I need some results so that I can conclude that what your claim is correct, because I think these are some other goods and you are claiming it to be something different. You are claiming it to be Pepsi, Coke, but I claim it to be sugar. तो कराओ केमिकल टेस्टिंग, पता चले कि इंपोर्ट शुगर किया है या कोल्ड ड्रिंक. थर्ड, where the importer exporter has produced all the necessary documents and furnished full information but the PO deems it necessary for further inquiry. यार करना है further inquiry, मेरे को प्रोविजनली असेस करके निकालो इसको, थोड़ा टाइम चाहिए मेरे को, फाइनल असेस करूंगा फिर क्या है, फाइनल ड्यूटी तेरा डिटरमाइन होगा. फोर्थ, where necessary documents have not been produced or information has not been furnished and the PO deems it necessary to make further inquiry. Simple. In that case, लग जाए. तो या तो importer feels that he does not know value or rate, request proper officer. Proper officer, now all these three reasons are for proper officer. Proper officer needs chemical testing. Proper officer feels that further inquiry is required. Proper officer feels that the documents furnished are not enough. If FA is greater than PA, interest at the rate 15%. Achha, understand one thing, in customs interest will always be subject to 15%. In GST it is 18. Obviously when you have to receive interest it is 6% across, right? Now here the case is, my dear friends, very simple. If FA is greater than PA, interest at the rate 15% per annum, first day of the month in which duty was assessed under PA up to date of payment, that is the delayed number of days. So understand, if the PA was of 1/4 and your FA comes out to be in 1/12, in 1/4 से interest लगेगा, right? First day of the month in which duty was provisionally assessed. लंबा खींचाएगा. But when there is a refund that comes out as the outcome, you can attain interest but only after 3 months expire from FA order. So GST में it is 60 days, here it is 3 months. Okay, that is how it is. और वो refund में भी time limits है अलग अलग, as you will know. तो अब टेंशन मत लो. what I'm thinking is it's actually a good idea can make a video on this, because here there are different. यहाँ पे भी चलो, यहाँ पे 3 महीना है, not a bad thing, but here हाँ ठीक है. So there are different time limits. I will make sure that I actually make a small video on this. This is good. I feel एक साथ जब क्या है रिकलेक्ट होगा तब फटाफट से याद आ जाएगा आपको. Okay, that's it. इसका एक छोटा सा समय हम कर लेंगे. अच्छा, क्लियरेंस ऑफ गुड्स. अच्छा, व्हेन द गुड्स एंटर्ड फॉर होम कंजम्पशन. यस पूर्वी.
सर जैसे जीएसटी का टाइम लिमिट्स में हम लोग ये याद रखते हैं ना कि कहाँ से कहाँ तक, मतलब स्टार्ट कहाँ से हो रहा है वो चीज, तो कस्टम्स में भी हम लोगों को वो चीज याद रखनी है कि कहाँ से स्टार्ट हो रहा है, कि सिर्फ न्यूमेरिकल लिमिट याद रखा तो ठीक है, मतलब 3 months 1 month ऐसे याद रखा कि कहाँ से स्टार्ट हो रहा है ये भी
नहीं,
याद रखना पड़ेगा।
डेफिनेटली आपको याद रखना पड़ेगा, वाला कंप्यूट कैसे करोगे आप?
नहीं मतलब सिर्फ अदर देन इंटरेस्ट, जैसे कि अभी काफी जगह पे 3 months का आ गया, जैसे कि कब तक हम लोगों को एप्लीकेशन फाइल करना है, या कब तक हम लोगों को है ना
राइट, नहीं नहीं, तो करना ही पड़ेगा। उसका रीजन यही है दैट in case they create a situation out of it, then you will be perplexed कि यार अभी मैं काउंटिंग कहाँ से शुरू करूँ। बट इट्स नॉट दैट डिफिकल्ट। जनरली फॉर एग्जांपल डिमांड ऑफ रिकवरी है तो उसमें जनरली इट्स डेट ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन और सर्विंग ऑफ नोटिस, like something of that sort. So let me see if I can compile these time limits, because my next job is only that. So once the marathons are done of both final and inter by like third or fourth, the only videos that I'm going to make is on these. One is threshold limits across customs, across GSTs, across different chapters. Second is this here, time limit across chapters, and third is frequently made mistakes in all the chapters. So these are the only things that I'm going to focus on, because I feel generally student gets perplexed, or they also lose track of the situation, right? A lot of times they don't write down, तो क्या है जल्दी जल्दी में वो लोग भी भूल जाते हैं। वो वीडियो देख लेगी आधा घंटा 45 मिनट्स का, तो अच्छे से याद रह जाएगा, नथिंग एल्स। So you will have to, because that's important, but it's not as difficult as you think, because the first thought is like damn, because you are expecting a different answer, right? But it's not that difficult, don't worry, ठीक है, याद हो जाएगा, टेंशन मत। अच्छा, क्लियरेंस ऑफ गुड्स में देख लीजिए फटाफट से। द गुड्स एंटर्ड फॉर होम कंजम्पशन आर नॉट प्रोहिबिटेड, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, दे शुड नॉट बी प्रोहिबिटेड गुड्स। Import duty and charges have been paid, only then understand order for clearance for home consumption will be filed. Acha, the PO can make an order permitting clearance for home consumption only after these two things are ready. Acha, CG may permit certain class of importers to make deferred payment of duty. जो generally क्या होता है, if you want order for clearance for home consumption, file bill of entry, pay the duty, file bill of entry, pay duty. But there are certain classes of people, like who, like authorized economic operators, or people paying duty greater than 10,000 per bill of entry. Okay, government have specifically told that all these notified people have a benefit of deferred payment of duty. So they can clear the goods, but they will pay duty afterwards. कब afterwards? तो first से लेके 15 day of the month you clear as many goods as you want to clear, you clear, but you will pay duty on 16th of that month. 16 से लेके क्या है, till the last day of month other than March, बोला first day of the following. 16 से लेके 31st March, बोला 31st March. Why? Because there is a reason why 31st March में ऐसा है, because what happens is that government generally functions, the taxation system of government works on payment basis, not accrual basis. तो अगर ये पैसा चला जाएगा अगले मंथ में, तो फिर वो अगले साल का क्या है, रेवेन्यू में आ जाएगा। बिकॉज हर साल का बजट होता है ना, तो बजट में क्या है, रेवेन्यू और एक्सपेंस दोनों होता है, तभी तो जाके फिजिकल डेफिसिट आता है आपका। सो टू मेक श्योर दैट इट डज नॉट गो इन द नेक्स्ट, गवर्नमेंट हैज सेड 31st मार्च को पे कर दो भाई, ठीक है। दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, दिस इज आस्क्ड इन द एग्जाम, दिस कैन बी आस्क्ड इन द एग्जाम, बिकॉज it is something which is a novel concept. Acha, also write down here, okay, a very important thing, Write down this. If there is any default in payment of duty by the due date more than once in 3 consecutive months, ओके, तो एक क्वार्टर में आपने एक से ज्यादा डिफॉल्ट कर दिया है, then the facility will not be allowed unless the duty with interest has been paid in full. प्रेजेंटेशन अच्छा है पर यार मेरा बड़ा बहुत बुरा लग रहा है इसमें, कुछ some other picture. Okay. ठीक है, and yes, definitely the importer shall intimate the principal commissioner or commissioner before opting for this option. अच्छा, and what is the time limit to pay import duty? तो सेल्फ असेसमेंट में डेट ऑफ प्रेजेंटेशन ऑफ बिल ऑफ एंट्री के वक्त ही पे कर देना. प्रोविजनल असेसमेंट में बोला है विद इन 1 day excluding holiday from the date on which bill of entry is returned to him by the proper officer for payment of duty. ठीक है, एंड डिफर्ड में तो यू हैव गॉट दिस टेबल ओनली, राइट. तो व्हाट हैपेंस इज दैट इन प्रोविजनल और रीअसेसमेंट ऑर्डर वेन एवर यू गेट द ऑर्डर विद इन 1 day एक्सक्लूडिंग हॉलीडेज, तो 1/4 को हुआ है तो बाई 1/5 पे इट. ठीक है, and in case of bill of entry at the time of filing bill of entry only you have to pay it. Self assessment, that's it.
सर
हाँ बोलो.
सर ये बिल ऑफ एंट्री रिटर्न्ड फॉर पेमेंट का मतलब क्या हुआ, मुझे नहीं समझा. डेफर्ड पेमेंट में जो हेडिंग
हाँ
है
तो
ना,
आई टेल यू, उसमें क्या होता है कि भाई आज फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैंने आपको, सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल you are the importer, so you have filed bill of entry and you have assessed your rate of duty at 10%, and this you have filed with proper officer. Proper officer say what's nonsense, what nonsense. To you it is not 10%, to you the rate of duty is 20%. तो वो जो बिल ऑफ एंट्री है उसी में ही क्या है, रेट ऑफ ड्यूटी 10% को काट के बोलेगा 20%. तो ये है फॉर एग्जाम्पल तुझे मिला 1/4 को, तो तू अभी 1/5 को इसको पे कर देना, सिंपल. तो द बिल ऑफ एंट्री विल बी रिटर्न टू यू विद द रिवाइज रेट कि दिस इज नॉट व्हाट is applicable to you. Now you can either contest it by appealing it or you can either pay it. बस.
और सर लेकिन वो डेफर्ड पेमेंट में ऐसा क्यों लिखा हुआ है?
डेफर्ड पेमेंट एक
होगा.
कहाँ पे है भाई, पेज नंबर
पेज नंबर 6 पे जो चार्ट है ना डेफर्ड पेमेंट का, जिसमें आपने टाइमलाइन पढ़ाया,
पेज नंबर 6.
6, हाँ 6 लास्ट में।
सिक्स पे कहाँ है? व्हाट द हेल, क्यों मिल नहीं रहा है मेरे को?
सर इंपोर्ट प्रोसीजर पेज नंबर 6।
अच्छा, टाइप्स ऑफ ड्यूटी के बाद है ना? हाँ बोल.
हाँ सर, इसमें देखो टेबल में ना जो हेडिंग है ना फर्स्ट, उसमें ऐसा क्यों लिखा है गुड्स करस्पॉन्डिंग टू बिल ऑफ एंट्री
गुड्स करस्पॉन्डिंग टू बिल ऑफ एंट्री रिटर्न्ड फॉर पेमेंट फ्रॉम. हाँ तो बेसिकली यहाँ पे बिल ऑफ एंट्री फाइल कर दूंगा मैं. तो बिल ऑफ एंट्री, अच्छा यहाँ की बात कर रही है, मैं बिल ऑफ एंट्री फाइल कर दूंगा. एंड इन दैट बिल ऑफ एंट्री आई विल मेक अ रिक्वेस्ट that I am an authorized economic operator who's belonging to an industry that you have notified. So I will not pay duty right now. So when that person sees that okay, he is complying the conditions, he will return it to me, saying that okay, this option is granted to you. वैसा. तो goods corresponding to the bill of entry return for the payment. और वो पेमेंट आप कर दोगे फ्रॉम 1st to 15th, 16 to लास्ट डे 16 to 31st मार्च.
ओके सर, थैंक यू।
अच्छा अब ये वाला ले लो, ये दोनों बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चैप्टर्स है. इसका एक क्वेश्चन पक्का आता है और वो है ये वाला एस्पेक्ट का, और बैठा बैठा सेम ही क्वेश्चन आता है हमेशा. नथिंग टू लाइक पॉन्डर अपॉन. ओके, तो इसमें दो चीज़ें हैं, फटाफट से आ जाओ. सेक्शन 20 में दो चीज़ें हैं, ये पहला दूसरा. तो ये क्या है बेटा? इंडिया. करेक्ट. तो आज यहाँ पे सिचुएशन क्या है बताओ. सबसे पहला है सिचुएशन ये कि यू हैड मैन्युफैक्चर्ड गुड्स इन इंडिया एंड देन एक्सपोर्टेड इट. यू हैव मैन्युफैक्चर्ड गुड्स इन इंडिया एंड देन एक्सपोर्टेड इट. फेयर इनफ, अच्छा था लाइफ. Life was good, fantastic, but then what happened? अभी गुड्स है मेड इन इंडिया, तो कुछ खराबी होना लाजमी है, शबाना आजमी है. एंड व्हाट हैपेंड? द गुड्स स्टॉप्ड वर्किंग. लेट्स से कोई क्लॉक थी, कोई बहुत एक्सपेंसिव वॉच, टाइटन की वॉच नहीं चली, बिगड़, भेज दी वापस. तो डू यू रियलाइज मैंने री इम्पोर्ट किया है अभी. द गुड्स दैट आई एक्सपोर्ट आई हैव री इम्पोर्टेड. व्हाट इज द पर्पस? रिपेयर, रिकंडीशनिंग, या फिर रीप्रोसेसिंग, रिफाइनिंग, रीमेकिंग. तो इफ द ऑब्जेक्टिव इज रिपेयर्स, रिकंडीशनिंग, तो द री इम्पोर्ट शुड हैपन विद इन 3 years or 10 years. 10 years in case of Nepal. बट इट इज फॉर प्रोसेसिंग, रिफाइनिंग या रीमेकिंग, तो विद इन 1 year हो जाना चाहिए री इम्पोर्ट. और काम हो गया आपका. री इम्पोर्ट क्यों किया था आप? रिपेयर करने के लिए, रिकंडीशनिंग, रिप्रोसेसिंग, रिफाइनिंग, रीमेकिंग हो गया ना वो. इट इज डन एंड डस्टेड. विल यू डू समथिंग विद दैट गुड्स नाउ? नो, यू विल सेंड इट बैक टू द पर्सन, बैक टू योर कस्टमर. तो सेंड इट, but send it within 6 months from the date of importation. If this happens, no duty payable. And obviously, why should I pay? There was an export, legit export. I imported because of repairs. I did it and I exported back. End of discussion. But just make sure that people should not make make use of these provisions. They should not manipulate it, which is why the timelines. Repairs, reconditioning, 3 years. Nepal, 10 years. Otherwise, reprocessing, refining, remaking, 1 year. Simple. just make
So
sure that,
extension is for further 1 year or up to 1 year?
sorry,
Extension is
1
for
year,
further
1
1
year,
year, right?
हाँ, अप टू ना, ऑब्वियसली ना, अप टू ही होता है एक्सटेंशन कभी भी यार. ओके, 1 ईयर एक्सटेंशन सीधा नहीं देता है कोई, अप टू 1 ईयर के भाई 6 महीना था तो ले ले, 7 महीना, 8 महीना, 10 महीना, वॉट एवर. अच्छा, कंडीशंस क्या है? एसी डीसी ऑफ कस्टम सेटिस्फाइड अबाउट द आइडेंटिटी ऑफ गुड्स. तो जो गुड्स आए वही जाने चाहिए वापस, वरना तू तो भाई क्या है, इंपोर्ट कर रहा है बैट, भेजेगा बॉल, क्या चल रहा है? Importer should execute bond at the time of importation. Why? He has to make a promise at the time of importation that tomorrow if he does not re-export the goods in time, he will pay the duty. Because understanding the time limit is not respected, I will pay the duty because the goods remain imported with me. Okay. And in reprocess, refining, remaking, if there is any loss during operation, then this loss will be exempted from duty. That is fine. Okay, तो कुछ वेट उसका कम हो जाता है तो ठीक है, उतने पे ड्यूटी नहीं लगेगा, सिंपल. ओके, सो फटाफट से एक बार रिवाइज करके बताओ क्या था ये कॉन्सेप्ट. दैट आई हैड मैन्युफैक्चर्ड गुड्स इन इंडिया एंड व्हाट डिड आई डू? एक्सपोर्ट. देन व्हाट हैपेंड? माय क्लाइंट सेड दिस नीड्स सम repairing or reprocessing. I said okay, send it. My client said refining, remaking, और एक वर्ड क्या था उसमें? ओके सॉरी, ऊपर वाला रिपेयर रिकंडीशनिंग है, रिप्रोसेसिंग नीचे है. तो रिपेयर रिको, रिपेयर रिको, रिपेयर रिको ऊपर है, रिफाइनिंग, रीमेकिंग, रिप्रोसेसिंग नीचे है. ऊपर 3 years 10 years, 10 years नेपाल, नीचे 1 year. And once the goods are in India, do those processes, send it back within 6 months. Extension 1 more year. But the goods should be the same. Very important. And the importer will have to make a promise, sign a bond. Simple. ठीक है? And a consequence of this, what will happen? No duty will be charged in case of such re-import. But if you miss the deadlines, he will have to land up paying the duty. Okay. Next case क्या है इसका? ये confusing होता है लोगों को, पर I hope this is very clear. Okay. This is important. Understand what it is. फर्स्ट थिंग, एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ गुड्स. एक्सपोर्ट कर दिया इंडिया से, एक्सपोर्ट कर दिया, मैन्युफैक्चर नहीं किया है भाई, एक्सपोर्ट ही किया. ओनली एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ गुड्स. देयर मैन्युफैक्चर्ड एंड देन एक्सपोर्ट, हियर ओनली एक्सपोर्ट. डिफरेंस. नाउ यू हैव री-इंपोर्टेड. व्हाई हैव यू री-इंपोर्टेड? It can be anything, the same goods. Okay. That are re-imported. Now it can be for repairs या फिर क्या है? Then in that case, okay, understand, it can be any case for that matter. The goods are exported and now re-imported. Very simple. तो पहले एक्सपोर्ट हुआ है, फिर री इंपोर्ट. नाउ अंडरस्टैंड वन थिंग, and understand one thing very clearly, that in the previous case you had manufactured and exported, re-imported and again exported. That is why no duty payable. But in this case you have exported and then you have re-imported, and it ends there. You forget about the time limits, forget about anything else, just focus on the basics first. Export हुआ है, re-import हुआ है, अब क्या होगा? वो गुड्स इंडिया का ही रह गया है, इट इज इन इंडिया ओनली. क्वेश्चन इज while that re-import is happening, what is the amount payable by that importer? So government said to make things easy. First case, if I would have done any export, it can happen that I have exported some goods and those goods were imported from somewhere. For example, I have imported from Sri Lanka and I'm exporting it to China. And China did not like the goods, so they returned it back and said, I don't want it, keep it with you, and return my payment. Can that happen? Yes. So do you realize I must have taken duty drawback while I have imported from Sri Lanka? Yes, because I have purchased goods and I have sold it. 74.1. I have imported goods and I have exported it as it is. 74.1. I will get the duty drawback 98% because I have exported it. Now that I have exported the goods, I have claimed duty drawback and I have got that duty drawback. Now what happens? Tell me. Sales return hua. So goods are back again in India. Do you think you deserve that duty drawback by any chance? No. Because you haven't landed up exporting them at the end of the day. You haven't. They're back in India. So you deserve that duty drawback. No, then return that incentive back. Whatever incentive you had got, return it back. ASAP, as simple as that. Acha, under GST, you must have claimed refund. Return that back. In case it is a purchase of domestic goods. Now, when I am exporting, there are two possibilities. Either I am importing and exporting, or either I am purchasing goods from domestic market and then exporting. Anything can happen, right? तो वहां पे ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक ले लूंगा और नीचे जीएसटी का रिफंड ले लूंगा. तो ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक लिया है, रिटर्न ड्यूटी ड्रॉबैक बैक. जीएसटी रिफंड, रिटर्न दैट बैक. Third and the most important scenario. What? For example, I had imported certain goods from China. I must have paid import duty. Correct. But as it is said, it is made in China. It is made in China. China का माल है रे, ये बंद हो गया. बंद हो गया. So I had to send it back. For what? For repairs. So now who is repairing? Obviously the person who's manufactured it. And who is it? China. And after it's done repairing, they come back to me. The goods come back to me. Because I am the owner of the goods at the end of the day. Correct? If you use common sense, understand one thing. I must have already paid import duty on the goods while I got it first. But then I saw that it is not working, so I sent it back. And now when the goods are coming back to India, do you realize that they are repaired goods? Do you also realize there is certain value addition in terms of repairing? तो मटेरियल का कॉस्ट होगा उसके अंदर, थोड़ा बहुत कुछ प्रॉफिट मार्जिन होगा. एंड ऑल्सो वो बंदा टू एंड फ्रो का फ्रेट भी मुझसे ले लेगा, क्योंकि रिपेयर मुझे करवाना है एंड वारंटी में है नहीं. तो ऑल दीज एक्सपेंसेस you will add it up and you will pay duty on that amount, because on that amount you have not paid earlier. Because earlier when you bought those goods from China, were those repaired goods? No, those were original goods. Original पे तो pay कर दिया original amount, but now these are repaired. There is certain value addition done at the end of China. उस पर ड्यूटी पे कर दूंगा मैं, अलॉन्ग विथ फ्रेट ऑफ टू एंड फ्रो। समझ इसमें थोड़ा क्या है, बस ऐसा कर देना, उल्टा कर देना इसको। ये सिचुएशन में ड्यूटी पेएबल यहाँ आना चाहिए और ये सिचुएशन है जो यहाँ पे आनी चाहिए, बस उतना ही क्या है देख लेना। ठीक है, एंड रेसिड्यूअल केस है तो फिर नील आ जाएगा। रेसिड्यूअल केस का क्लासिक एग्जांपल यही है कि आई हैव सेंट गुड्स फॉर एग्जीबिशन, तो आई हैव सेंट गुड्स, डज इट कॉन्स्टिट्यूट टू सप्लाई? नो, इट डज नॉट इन्वॉल्व, इट इज नॉट अ सप्लाई, सिंपल, बिकॉज वहां पे बिका तो ठीक है, नहीं बिका तो वापस ही आने वाला है, it's going to come back again if it is not getting sold there. So there is no requirement of filing any LUT or bond. So no IGST is payable at the time of export. Got it? Because it is not a supply. Right? So you will only file LUT bond and pay IGST or whatever if there is a zero rated supply. But ये supply नहीं है because the goods are not sold. They are going as a consignment for exhibition. Okay, hence this case falls under the residuary entry in the table above, and accordingly the exemption is available. Also, when the exports have been made related to distinct person or principal agents for participation in exhibition or consignment, but the same are returned back, again the exemption of residuary entry will be available and no duty will be levied, provided re-import is happening within 6 months. So understand that while you are taking the goods from Mumbai to China for exhibition, did you get any benefits? No, because it was not a zero rated supply. So you will not get any export benefit under GST, neither you will get any benefit in customs. So now when you are re-importing it back, just because they are not sold in that exhibition, simple, you will not pay anything. Why? Because you did not receive anything. Fair enough? Yes. Now the only thing that you need to focus on is very simple. Export कर दिए, re-import करना है, और re-import होके ही रह जाएगा वो। Within how many months or years? तो बोला normal case 3 years, extension 2 years. But if you would have exported under any of the schemes, DEC, advance authorization, DIFA, DPP, EPCG, export promotional council, तो 1 साल का, 1 साल के अंदर री इम्पोर्ट करवा लेना, एक्सटेंशन 1 साल। ठीक है, दैट्स इट। सेम गुड्स टू बी री इम्पोर्टेड, नो चेंज इन ओनरशिप। अच्छा, दीज कंडीशंस ऑफ 3 साल, 2 साल, 1 साल डज नॉट अप्लाई टू होम 100%। ईओवी नहीं है, ईओयू है, ऑब्वियसली है। ईओवी क्या होता है? इलेक्ट्रॉनिक ऑपरेटेड व्हीकल, नॉनसेंस। और एफटीजेड और पब्लिक और प्राइवेट वेयरहाउस और री इम्पोर्टेड गुड्स अंडर शेड्यूल 4 ऑफ सेंट्रल एक्साइज एक्ट, दैट इज टोबैको पेट्रोलियम प्रोडक्ट्स। तो उसमें एक्सपोर्ट हुआ, री इम्पोर्ट हुआ, कोई टाइम लिमिट का आता पता नहीं, कभी भी आएगा कभी भी जाएगा, नो टेंशन। ओके, दैट्स इट। There is a beautiful sum here. Let's embrace it. And इसका पेज नंबर 1.16। आ जाओ, ये एक क्लासिक सम है दैट इज ऑलवेज आस्क्ड इन द एग्जाम, like 2 to 3 times in the last past 6 attempts. Very important, very easy. A machine was originally imported from Japan at 250 rupees in July on payment of all the duties. The said machine was exported to the supplier for repairs in December and re-imported without any remanufacturing or reprocessing in October next year after repairs. Since the machine was under warranty period, the repairs was carried out free of cost. However, the fair cost of repairs carried out, including cost of material of 6 lakhs, would have been 9 lakhs. Actual insurance and freight charges to and from were 3 lakhs. The rate of basic custom duty 10%, IGST 12%. Compute the amount of custom duty payable on re-import of machine after repairs. The ownership of machine has not been charged during the period. Tell me. बताओ क्या होगा. सबसे पहले देखो, ओरिजिनली उसने क्या किया था, इंपोर्ट किया था फ्रॉम जापान, राइट. द मशीन वाज सेंट बैक फॉर रिपेयर्स and re-imported without any remanufacturing or reprocessing. ठीक है. पहले तो फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट हो गया, पर अब क्या हुआ. द फेयर कॉस्ट ऑफ रिपेयर्स वॉज, आई डोंट गिव अ डैम कि वो फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट हुआ है कि नहीं, मैंने पे किया उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. फेयर कॉस्ट क्या है उसका. तो भैया मटेरियल लगा है 6 लाख का, और टोटल रिपेयर्स का कॉस्ट है 9 लाख, आने जाने का खर्चा है 3 लाख. अब बताओ क्या करूं मैं, कितने पे ड्यूटी पे होगा. 12 लाख प्लस BCD 10% प्लस SWS 10% प्लस IGST 12%. So easy. ओके तो ये केस, और बस आप ये कंडीशन लिख के आ जाना, दैट्स इट. Goods must be re-imported within 3 years. Exported goods and re-imported ownership should not be changed. Okay, that's it. That's it, guys. Okay, so these are the things, these are the aspects to be taken into consideration. And yeah, last is classification. वो कर लो एक बार and we will wrap up. Okay, classification of goods में my dear friends, there are like 6 rules, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there is another concept of project imports. ठीक है. अब क्या है ये फटाफट से देख लो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. जनरली नहीं आते क्वेश्चन इसमें से, पर एक आध बार पूछ लिया था बीच में क्लासिफिकेशन का, तो यू शुड जस्ट बी अवेयर ऑफ इट, राइट. और इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस का लिस्ट आई एनी विच वेज कम आउट विथ, सो डोंट वरी. ओके. Rule 2A. Any incomplete or unfinished article, classify that as a complete or finished article, or any unassembled article को classify it as assembled article. That is what Rule 2A says. Now, as I said, this was actually because of Dhirubhai Ambani, that he had this brain of, he had this business acumen of actually importing things on which there were lesser rate of duties. So he will not import a computer, he will import a keyboard and a desktop and a mouse and a speaker and a CPU, on which separately there were lesser duties. So he said that I don't want it assembled, I will assemble it here. But then government realized that we will have to insert something like this, because if this keeps happening, you're not going to get any good duties. So government said, okay, if there is any car without seat, classify it as car. You cannot say that this is not a car. Fan without motor, blades, regulator, it is still a fan. Cycle without tire is still a cycle. Please remember. Rule 2b. Rule 2b is not something that is asked in the exam. Still, just understand mixture and combination of material substances. Coffee includes coffee mixed with chicory. So that is coffee only. Natural rubber will cover mixture of natural and synthetic rubber. So that is natural rubber only. Okay. Now, rule 3. Rule 3 is important. Specific over general. So understand that if there are two items covered under two headings, which heading will you take? Because there is a confusion, right? 8510 shavers and hair clippers with self-contained hair electric motors. 8509 electric mechanic domestic appliance with self-contained electric motor. और आप ढूंढ रहे हो शेविंग मशीन. Clearly it's 8510 because the word shavers is written here. Specific over general. Comes from the Latin dictum generalia specialibus non derogant. Specific will always override the general. Leather bag. तो articles of leather and bag तो आप किस में जाओ? Bag. Articles of leather is such a big word. Right? तो bag है तो bag में ही जाओ भाई. Okay. 3A is not applicable to mixed and composite supply items in sets. What does that mean? Pencil with eraser at a back. Abhi in this, understand that pencil and eraser. Okay, where will I put this? So there is a heading called pencil. There is a heading of eraser. Understand that it is equally relevant. Both are specific headings. Where will I put this? So I have understood. I hope you all understood that this is pencil with eraser. Now I have a heading called pencil. I have a heading called eraser. Now where will I put this? Because both the headings are specific. No one is general. So in that case, I will not apply 3A. I will go with 3B. How does 3B help? 3B says check the essential characteristic. So clearly if up till here it's the lead of the pencil and the eraser is just like comprising 5% of the space, I will say that it is a pencil. That is the essential character and I will go ahead with that. Multifunctional printer. So it's a machine which is a printer also and a scanner also. But it has more features of a printer and less features of a scanner. I will go ahead with printer. 3C. If A and B is not applicable, 3A and 3B is not applicable, you will go ahead with 3C, which is later the better. So here the thing is transmission belt made by rubber and nylon. That is the heading we are looking out for. That is the object we are looking out for. So 4010 says belt made up with rubber. 4910 says belt made up with nylon. So I will say later the better. Whichever is the later heading is a better heading and I will go ahead with this. Rule 4, akin rule. Applied when above rules are not applicable. Classify under similar goods heading. Plastic films used to filter the glaze of sunlight. अकिन रूल का मतलब क्या है कि मोस्ट लाइकली कि ये ऐसा ही आर्टिकल है. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल कोक है तो कोक को हम लोगों ने पेप्सी में क्लासिफाई करवा दी, राइट, समथिंग ऑन दोज लाइन्स. ठीक है, तो बिल्डिंग वेयर्स ऑफ प्लास्टिक नॉट एल्सवेयर स्पेसिफाइड, शटर्स एंड ब्लाइंडर्स, वी कैन पुट दिस देयर because this is the most akin entry, this is the most likely entry that is nearer to this object, so put it in that only. And rule 5, the most interesting rule, packing cases and containers. तो अंडरस्टैंड, कैमरा के साथ एक केस आता है, गोल्डन नेकलेस के साथ एक केस आता है, गिटार के साथ एक केस आता है, राइट. आपको ऐसा तो नहीं बोलेंगे ना पूर्वी के, फॉर एग्जाम्पल टुमारो इफ यू गो टू TZB, कल्याण ज्वेलर्स, दैट यू नो आई लाइक दिस ज्वेलरी, तो ऐसा नहीं बोलेंगे इधर आ बेटा पहना दिया फिर, ऐसा ऐसा थोड़ी होता है. इसको ब्यूटीफुल से बॉक्स में दे देंगे. वॉच है तो वॉच को भी ऐसा थोड़ी, अच्छा हाथ दे इधर, पहना दिया, अरे ऐसा थोड़ी, नॉनसेंस। वो अच्छे से, और इतना ब्यूटीफुल बॉक्स होता है, कई बार तो ऐसा लगता है कि यार पैसा तो इसके लिए दे रहा हूं मैं। तो अभी क्या एक्चुअली तुझे दो चीज मिल रही है वहां पे, यू आर गेटिंग टू थिंग्स, यू आर गेटिंग कैमरा एंड द केस, गिटार एंड द केस। तो व्हाट, तो गवर्नमेंट सेड यू विल इग्नोर द पैकिंग मटेरियल एंड क्लासिफाई द मेन आर्टिकल एज द एंटायर आर्टिकल। ओके, तो your understand in 5A they have mentioned these cases, camera, musical instrument, gun, but understand there are cases other than that also. A classic case is spectacles. जब spectacles is not mentioned here, तो उसका क्या करूंगा मैं? spectacles के साथ also they give you a beautiful case, तो government said spectacles, so that will be covered under 5B of cases other than 5A. So objects which are not mentioned in 5A will be covered under 5B, but the concept is the same. Residue re-entry. अच्छा, but exception क्या होगा पता है? Imagine something like this, that for example, so बहुत सारे शौकीन लोग होते हैं specifically who you know who are these who love to drink and who love to like smoke cigars and all of that. They consider it as a piece of royalty. तो वो जो दारू पीता है उसके पास वो बॉटल ही होता है सर, यू नो, विल कैरी विथ हिमसेल्फ, तो गोल्ड प्लेटेड है वो। या सिगार जिसमें वो रख रहा है, तो सिगार इज ऑल्सो एक्सपेंसिव, तो वो एक मस्त गोल्ड प्लेटेड बॉक्स में रख रहा है सिगार्स को, एक एक लेगा रोज। तो वो सिगार के साथ वो बॉक्स नहीं है, वो आपने जॉनी वॉकर खरीदा था उसके साथ वो गोल्ड प्लेटेड बॉटल नहीं है, उसका आपने बनवाया है, you have made it, so it has its own identity, it has its own essential characteristics, so you cannot say gold cigar, gold case for cigars, तो cigars में मत डाल देना उसको, गोल्ड केस का वैल्यू है ज्यादा भाई, क्लासिफाइड दैट वे। गैस सिलेंडर तो गैस, अरे सिलेंडर है भाई, सिलेंडर को करो ड्यूरेबल, मेंट फॉर रिपीटेटिव यूज। So exception are those goods which are durable, meant for repetitive use and has an essential characteristic of its own. ठीक है, अच्छा, and the last is project imports, that's the last concept. So understand, a lot of times if I'm starting a project I need to import a lot of things. For example, if my project is to start a refinery, so I'll have to import a lot of things from Germany, Russia, France, this, that, all the technologically, all those countries that are very good in manufacturing these technologies or capacities. Now I will be importing several goods for this project, okay. So I will go and request government that listen, the machines that I'll be importing for the initial setup of this unit, don't charge it differently. For the entire project, all the machines I am importing, give me one rate. Give me one rate, please. Otherwise, my half of the time will be with the custom house agent only कि इसका क्या रेट आएगा, इसका क्या रेट डालना है. Give me one rate, please, for all the machines. It can be an industrial project, irrigation project, power project, mining project. So it also gives me a good clarity of my costing. And there is less hassle in compliances. So only for that project, give me the entire blanket rate for all the machines. There is no confusion involved. Simple. That is what you call project imports. For one project, all the imports that I am doing will be subject to one rate. Got it? That is classification of goods. ठीक है, तो बस दोस्तों यहाँ पे अपना क्या है, मैराथन खत्म होता है. I think we've done this pretty well. Okay, Make the most of this, guys. Please solve. Just to get the confidence, you will have to solve. So I'll only ask you कि at least 3-4 पेपर के अटेम्प्ट ऐसे ही कस्टम धनाधन जाने दो ना आप. Go through it, right? कि उसका अलग से मैराथन करना है, Q&A मैराथन. अरे बेटा ऐसा करोगे तो मेरे को तो डर लग रहा है. सिर्फ आईडीटी ही प्रिपेयर करके जाओगे आप. दोनों ग्रुप दे रहे हो क्या सब लोग? पूर्वी तू भी दोनों ग्रुप दे रही है क्या? दिस इज योर सेकेंड अटेम्प्ट और थर्ड अटेम्प्ट? Third attempt, but it takes a lot of efforts here. In third attempt, if you are giving both the groups, it is good because generally people are like एक ही देता हूँ करके वैसा. But it's good. Do you work after the exams are done? Do you work in that articleship? Okay, then I will give you some work. Don't worry. I have a lot of work. Yeah, I feel you won't believe, yaar. I mean, like inter CA students, you won't believe there are such smart students who are earning 30,000-40,000. How? You know, by creating content on Telegram. So what they will do, they will make a group, right? Let's say inter CA free lectures, inter CA, and they will keep content, keep giving content. MCQ डाल देंगे, कोई अच्छे notes डाल देंगे, राइट कोई भी टीचर अगर फ्री में कोई अनाउंसमेंट कर रहा है वो डाल देंगे. सो भरेंगे लोगों को वहां पे 5,000 10,000 एंड देन दे विल कम टू समवन लाइक मी कि सर को प्रमोशन करना है आपके बैच का, एंड पर पोस्ट दे विल चार्ज मी, राइट. एंड आई एम एक्चुअली डीलिंग विथ वन ऑफ देम एंड आई एम लाइक ये क्या कर रहा है भाई, कहाँ से ये सब आइडियाज आ रहे हैं, क्रेजी स्टफ. यू नो, वन ऑफ माई इंटर्न who helps me with LinkedIn. So all the stories I communicate to her, but she writes it properly because she herself has built a community of 15,000. So I pay her a good stipend that she might not get in a CA firm. And I'm so happy yaar, that these students are doing some of the other things. So if you are good at English decently, start creating content or be engaged in some of the other things. Don't keep the FOMO of the fact that डैम. मान कई बार वो भी स्ट्रैटेजी सही होता है फर्स्ट 2-3 अटेम्प्ट्स के लिए, बट मेक श्योर दैट यू वर्क बिकॉज आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाट हेल्प मी कीप माई कॉन्फिडेंस बिकॉज आई वॉज ऑलवेज टीचिंग. सो द नेक्स्ट डे ऑफ माई सो आईडीटी का पेपर आ जाए, कल से मेरा लेक्चर चालू हो जाएगा. So it used to be that but that's very exhausting. I never gave myself break in the last 10 years. So yeah, it's sad, but give some time to yourself and do something that helps you in every way. Hopefully आपको किसी को क्या ज़रूरत ना पड़े ये एडवाइस का, हो ही जाएगा पास, टेंशन मत लो. बट येस, ओके, एंड या दैट्स इट. आई फील कोई दिक्कत नहीं है सच. हाँ, कस्टम्स का मैं चाहता था कि आप लोग एक टेस्ट दे दे. आई वॉज लाइक 30 मार्क्स का टेस्ट इफ यू ऑल कैन गिव. डू यू थिंक दैट वर्क्स? व्हाट डू यू थिंक? तो कस्टम्स का आई वॉज एक्चुअली थिंकिंग के कस्टम्स टेस्ट फॉर 30 मार्क्स, ओके, you can give that on like 3rd of October. तो अभी पढ़ा है, अभी फटाफट से ख़त्म करो और दे दो, राइट. एंड उसमें होगा क्या कि यू विल हैव टू ओपन योर जूम, तो कीप योर वीडियोज ऑन एंड simple, you will be given, okay, to complete 30 minutes you will 30 marks you will be given 1 hour. ज़्यादा है, but I want you to write the paper more rather than the timing part, right, which is I'm giving you 1 hour, but I feel that is sufficient. You time you make sure that you take out your time and you target something like a 45 minutes. That's a good enough time to score it and to score a good 30 mark paper. तो 45 minutes का टाइम रखो खुद का. I want you to attempt as much as possible, which is why I am giving you 1 hour. but वो 1 घंटा क्या है, चालू रखेंगे अपन वीडियो, एंड आपको मैं एक ईमेल आईडी दे दूंगा आप क्या है उसमें मेल कर देना एंड वो चेक हो गया, आपको क्या है वापस आप ही की आईडी पे वापस रिटर्न आ जाएगा। ठीक है, तो आप एग्ज़ाम दे दो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, आई डोंट माइंड एक्चुअली, एंड I will only take care of the entire testing part. That is nothing that I'm charging you for it. I just want that you fare well in that. तो ऐसा कुछ है नहीं as such, तो do it and participate it. Is 3rd October the right date? What do you think, guys? Deepak, Heath, Avni, Purvi, Amal, Smith. You think that timeline can be met? Are there any suggestions?
सर मेरी आवाज आ रही है? हेलो
So,
Yes.
they are trying to speak, but their voice is not coming to you.
Okay. Who's trying to speak?
All of them.
अच्छा, आपका
They are
आवाज़
not
सुनाई दे रहा है
throughout
मुझे।
the lecture.
तो लिख दो ना फटाफट से यार चैट बॉक्स में। माई ओनली क्वेश्चन इज कि हाँ, तो तैयार हो तो मैं रखूँ फिर। आई एटलीस्ट वांट कि 5-10 पीपल शुड गिव, तो क्या है अच्छा रहेगा। आई विल ऑल्सो
Yes,
अनाउंस इट
sir.
इन द ग्रुप, सो दैट्स हाउ इट इज।
Okay, sir. चलो कर दो।
ओके, हो जाएगा ना प्रिपरेशन?
Sir, FTP
sir.
will also be covered.
हाँ, MCQs will be covered.
No, FTP.
No, FTV will not be covered. This is only for customs. FTP ka I'm taking out some time and I'm putting up some video definitely. But what I will ask you to do is basically के focus on these 95 marks, because ये करने में ही आपकी क्या है, because what happens is FTP is generally not revised on the last day, so might as well not put in that effort.
There is an amendment in FTP now, so it will.
अच्छा, better not fix time, we will write and send, is that fine? Okay. ठीक है, डन। उसमें इशू क्या होता है दीपक पता है कि, पर वो 3rd को फिर कभी भी लिख देना, बिकॉज फिर मैं इंश्योर करूंगा कि यार मुझे कट ऑफ डेट रखना है उसका, फिर वो मेल आते जाएगा, वो चेक करते जाएगा, वैसा नहीं चाहिए मेरे को, राइट? सो कीप इट 3rd। हाँ, एनी टाइम बिफोर, इफ यू वांट टू राइट बिफोर 3rd ऑल्सो, दैट इज फाइन, यू राइट इट एज पर योर कन्वीनियंस। मे बी आई डू सम, या फिर क्या करूँ 3rd, 4th, 5th ऐसा कुछ डेट दे दूँ?
वरना से ऐसे करो ना, आप अपलोड कर दो, we will write it and send
ठीक
it
है,
to
डन।
you.
ठीक है, तो मैं बनवा देता हूँ और मैं अपलोड करवा देता हूँ, डन। तो बाय 3rd यू राइट इट एट एनी गिवन पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम एंड सी इफ इट वर्क्स फॉर यू, और लिख दो फटाफट से और कर दो, ठीक है? चलो, ओके गाइस,
Okay, sir. Thank you.
चलो बाय।
Recording stopped.
Thank you, Ninad. Thank you, Parth. Parth, you can also write the exam. MS, you can also write the exam. Please make sure that helps.